Oh, you can leave it. I'm gonna hook it up there. Yeah. What's up? Sí. Yep. Which one? You go?
No, did you go?
No, I wound up not being able to because I was filming with Alibaba.
I thought you were up there. I know. I see.
No, I was going to, but then I realized there was a conflict with the schedule. It's about the Perry Belcher AI Summit in Orlando, right? Yeah.
What were you filming with Alibaba?
Huh?
You were filming with
Yeah, we're filming a lot of trainings that'll show up on the Alibaba. Yeah, some cool stuff Alibaba's rolling out. Yeah, really good stuff. Let me just get this set up. First time of the year, so. Feels like it's been months, right?
I'm glad to be back.
Oh, I'm glad to be back, yeah. My wife, not so much. Okay. Well, none of that.
Did you have to like go to their offices to film?
Here, they came here. Okay. No, they came from New York, man. They were awesome. All right, let me just make sure this is good. All right. Wow, the camera looks really crooked. I did miss everybody. The only person that's not happy right now is wifey. She's like, that's it, no more Saturdays for the rest of the year.
Oh. Like she got used to it.
Right?
It's a big sacrifice.
Yeah. No, that'll be 52 Saturdays a year. No, 12 a year.
I like the way you think. You've a very high sophistication. You know, it's very sophisticated.
All right, I think we can get going.
It'll never be a phototype because it's already done.
Oh yeah, I know what I'm missing. Gotta update the ticker. Okay. No prime water? How are you? Welcome. All right, you guys ready? You able to look at YouTube? Fernand? You able to look at YouTube? Today my goal is I want to crack a smile over there, see if we can get that done. Okay. All right, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
So, today's topic, I couldn't get the projector to work. I wasn't going to do a screen share anyway, no shocker. But every now and then we pop something up to go look at. For some reason I couldn't. Go figure, you leave it not working for 3 weeks and then you don't check on it the day before. This is what happens. And rather than waste time me trying to troubleshoot tech, which is bad when that happens, we'll roll with it and I'll have it fixed by next week. Since I can't, normally we'll have a slide. For those of you who haven't been here before, we'll have some slides going on right now that mention some of our sponsors. Blessed to have a bunch of sponsors, so it turned into this long-winded thing talking about them, and I didn't feel like it was the best way to approach it for everyone, sponsors, myself, my voice, you. But since I can't do it, I do want to give them a little bit of a shout out since we're starting the year, and a lot of this couldn't be possible without them. Two notable ones that I'll point out that were not sponsors when we last met before the Christmas break. We've not met in 3 weeks. Is Boardroom and Seller Assistant. So Boardroom, whether you're doing Shopify or Amazon, they're going to be your dashboard. They will allow you to do both of them at the same time. So if you want to have this unified dashboard that shows you what's going on in your off Amazon sales and on Amazon sales and get really granular, not just show you charts that you really can't action, but giving you suggestions on what you can do, as well as pulling in very, very useful data for you and or your bookkeeper and accountant. Boardroom does that. What caught my eye about Boardroom though initially was not that. Ecom Boardroom, if you look them up online. But what caught my eye initially about them was actually, I don't know if many of you know, I don't talk about it much, but before the Amazon space kind of consumed my life 15 years ago full time, I was very consumed by, I was going to be a video editor, believe it or not. I loved it, and then realized I'm not good at it. And it doesn't matter how many courses you take, by the way, to get good at like Premiere Pro on Adobe. There is like an art to it. Like if you can't match your clothes, you're probably not going to create good videos. And I realized I wasn't good, but the way I was going to get good was doing Google SEO. I was going to just be like top of search. Anyone decided to search like amazing video editor. I got really good at SEO, and I stuck with it, and I've used it to help my Amazon private labels and any other aspect of my life that I can. Brick and mortar businesses like the Salsa Kings business that we run out of here, different brick and mortar businesses I have. So I feel like I can hold my own against anybody else with Google SEO, and I stuck with it. So Boardroom, and Google SEO has changed a bazillion times since then. Whatever you were doing could go from good to against the rules to you getting, I mean, it's changed a lot. One of the big changes now that nobody knows the truth on is the impact of AI on it, and the way, I'm gonna say generative AI, if I'm saying that right, the way generative AI is working and how, on Amazon too, on how it's delivering you your results, the way people search for things, the way people consume their data is about to go over, but just I would say like extinction level sounds negative, but it's gonna be like kind of like the meteor and the dinosaurs if you subscribe to that, right? Like it's gonna really shake things up. So they have an AI SEO suggester, like a tool called Surfer SEO. I know I'm throwing a lot of tools out here that I really like, and it's really good. So if you are in the early stages and you have a small budget and you know nothing about SEO, it is a fantastic starting spot. Once you, and I don't know if later on when you have a big budget and you have a lot more robust goals that you want to do with SEO, I'm not saying that it's not good, but what I do know is in that beginning stage, I don't know anything like it. And I used to recommend a few different, like one called Fat Joe, one called The Hoff, and those were kind of the ones I'd send you to get started, because they're just...
Did you say Fat Joe?
Yeah, Fat Joe. Yeah, they're called Fat Joe, but they're fantastic. Huh?
Like the rapper?
Like the rapper, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I doubt the associations. I doubt it's the same.
I
Yeah.
was like, did I
But
say
yeah,
that?
no, Fat Joe and The Hoff, they were who I'd recommend. But to start, that's gonna run you about $1,000, it's gonna set you back about $1,000 a month. And again, if you're like, where do I put this 1,000? Is it PPC? Is it my new product? Pay my debt? It's hard to carve it out for SEO. This one, I'm pretty sure you get their beginner plan, and you're even with everything that I just mentioned with the dashboard and everything, I don't even think you're set back $75.
What was it again? Surfer SEO?
Surfer SEO is one that I like and that I've used forever.
Is that a standalone product or is it part of Boardroom?
It's part of Boardroom. So Surfer SEO is not related. I just said Surfer SEO to kind of give you, if any of you in the SEO world knew of it, you would know Surfer SEO. Boardroom or Ecom Boardroom, they have an equivalent inside of it that I'm very impressed with. So as of now, I would say if you're in that early stage, I highly recommend it. So we did our due diligence together. They're content creators, they're educators first, which I like to think that's what we do at Wizards of Ecom. And I was like, yeah, we're aligned. Let's give this a shot. So that's where I'm at with that. And then Seller Assistant, one of my 2025 goals with the group, and at the end of the day, we're going to do whatever you want. I'm not going to try to force anything down the group's throat, and it's not a dictatorship, right? But I would like, if I was kind of president of the day or CEO for your company of the day, and you were doing all in on arbitrage, I would be the annoying person on your shoulder telling you, hey, we need to get, maybe if you don't want to do private label, but we really need to be pulling in that direction. Like our arbitrage, there is a time for it, but as a fully built out model that you're planning to continue building on in the future, it in my opinion, could not be on shakier ground. So I'm going to sort of deprioritize the amount of arbitrage specific events that we're going to do here in the group in 2025, unless you guys who run the group come up to me and be like, Carlos, man, I've been banking on these arbitrage things, then I'll reverse that. But as of right now, kind of like that's where I'm at. Since I'm going to do that, I wanted to bring something in that's a software that I think is really good, really affordable, and that can automate a lot of it. Because one of my laundry list of problems that I have with arbitrage is the amount of time that it takes from you. That just sucks from your life in doing this. And Seller Assistant eliminates that. So the software is called Seller Assistant. It's also geared more towards it has a cool wholesale component, but if you're doing the wholesale side of it, I would recommend Smart Scout, who's a sponsor of ours, as far as verifying, vetting wholesale buyer lists. Say a supplier says, here's our catalog, and you're stuck with thousands of things to look at. Well, there's a month of your life evaluating that thing. Insert a software like Seller Assistant, and you find out rather quick. I really like them, and again, I really like that we're morally, ethically aligned together. I really like the fact that I said, hey, you know, if we're going to be doing this and I'm going to be having you as a sponsor, if anyone in my community reaches out and they have an issue and they're not getting instant response times, like I will drop you. And they were like, no, we're going to go above and beyond. So anybody that is thinking to go down that online arbitrage route, or you're looking at something to evaluate buyer lists on the Amazon wholesale side better, I recommend Seller Assistant. So. Those are the two new ones. The other ones we're blessed with is like, you know, TraceViews, Jungle Scout, Alibaba.com, Capec, Levanta, SkewDrop, Connected Commerce Council, who's pretty much going toe to toe, trying to make sure Amazon doesn't get the big chop from the antitrust side of it. Rivli, Avast. If you're thinking of expanding internationally, you need Avast. BD Inspection, SellerSnap, Quartile, Ecom Engine. Ecom Engine will be here speaking in 2 weeks. Fantastic topic when it comes to like, kind of what we talked about you got all these metrics, data, things you can do on Amazon, but which ones should you be focusing on first? We're gonna go pretty deep into that. They were the first software in the Amazon space. So these guys are like the OGs in the space. They're here, and the founders coming in. So I highly recommend in 2 weeks that you be here for the Ecom Engine one. They're gonna have a really good deal, I heard, that's gonna be made available to everyone. What's up? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I mentioned Boardroom and Seller Assistant, Seller Mobile, PickFu, Smart Scout, Getita, SellersFi, Carbon 6, Ecom Chris. Ecom Chris is like Amazon's beating you up, threatening your account. Ecom Chris is where you want to go. And Remore Corp. So, like I said, blessed with a lot of sponsors. If this is your first time, don't worry. We're going to have the slides up. There'll be a QR code that you can scan to get more information on them, get whatever deal they have. But since it is the first time of the year, I wanted to mention them because again, there's zero chance my wife would have allowed me to keep this meetup event free every Saturday for 10 years without those sponsors. So like, they make this happen. Okay, so some other, I made a whole bunch of notes because there's like so many things I want to cover here. But some group news. The last year, so long ago, we did there was a lot of excitement surrounding the Amazon Influencer Program. We will continue talking about that one, and that's kind of like what I want to talk about. The reason I talked about arbitrage a lot over the years was if you came in here and you were like, I just saw this webinar, and I want to start a brand, and I'm excited with you, and you turn around and tell me that you have $500 to start, in good faith, I can't tell you to do private label like that. I know the YouTube video that sold you on that is saying you can, but I can't. I gotta see you on Saturdays. I don't want to be responsible for that. It's not going to end well. So I would recommend going to arbitrage and starting. At the end of the day, it's close to risk-free. You can make money on it, but it's a hard trade on your time, and there's a lot of risks there. Insert Amazon Influencer Program. And I think you should consider doing the Amazon Influencer Program even if you're a private label seller on the other side. Like it's the easiest thing I've seen to make money, truly passive money. Anyhow, we had a lot of excitement about it. For those of you, anybody here not know what it is? I don't want to bore everyone with what it is, but no one, does everyone here know? So everyone, okay. So, yeah, so I get my phone and I'm like, I record a video either with me on screen or not, and I'm like, I got this remote, this Epson projector remote. I really like it. It's half the size of the other one. It weighs about this, and the good thing about this one is I've dropped it a few times and it didn't break, whereas my other one, first drop, it shattered. So you get it, but like that short, that low production quality, and then I get that video recording and I upload it into my Amazon Influencer dashboard, connect it, if you will, just link it to the product itself that's on Amazon. And now, Now let's say Fernando's on Amazon and he's looking for a remote. He goes to the listing. If he looks at this video that I just uploaded and then buys the product, I will make a commission off of that product plus anything else he had in his cart at the time of checkout.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it's nice. Every category has a different percentage you can make. There's a few more things you really want to know about it if you're going to approach this, but it's something you can do at home. There's no trade-off on time. It's something that Amazon's aggressively promoting. Is there competition? Yes. Anything worthwhile has that. It's scalable. You have all the equipment you need to do it. You might just be struggling with, oh my God, do I got to appear on camera or not? But that's like your only holdback. It doesn't get easier than that when it comes to business. So I'm still going to recommend that to people who are starting. But there's another version of that is much more lucrative, and that's called TikTok Creator. I know TikTok might be disappearing in a few days, depending on what news channel you watch. But in the event that it doesn't, this applies. And in the event that it does, I don't know if you guys know of something called Lemonade, right? So Lemonade, it's just going to be what everybody talks about anyway, and it is identical to TikTok. So, right, Chinese also. So
It's a sister company.
yeah, we'll just get another 3 years before they try to ban that one, and it's going to keep happening. So like, I don't want to weigh in on whether it's right that they did it or not right that they did it. I'm just talking about from a business perspective right now. The approach to creating those sort of videos, or I would call the TikTok ones, whether it's, I'm just going to say TikTok, I'm not going to say TikTok Lemonade or whatever, but like you get what I'm saying. So the TikTok ones could be a little more involved, right? But the upside is the amount you can make on those are fantastic. My wife and I couldn't crack the code on it. So we couldn't generate meaningful amounts of money for me to come in here and say, everybody, we should do this. So we hired somebody and brought someone on the team who you guys are going to start seeing in the chats. I don't know if she might come to some of the meetup events, but her name is Erica. She's amazing. And she's going to be cracking the code on this, and she's already making a ton of progress. She's going to be sharing everything she learns on this free in the group. So for those of you that are on that mission that want to figure that out, that might also be a new form of content that we're going to be talking about, a lucrative, really lucrative form of content that we'll be talking about this year. That's not arbitrage, right? And by arbitrage, I mean both retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. Okay, 2025, the obvious. We talked about goals last time. Anytime that we only have a 2-week break, that third week when we come back, I usually have another like touch again on those goals, right? You know, the whole like I think the odds are you would have already stopped going to the gym and all that jazz. But we did 3 weeks, and whenever we do the 3 weeks off, I like to come back with something that I feel like a lot more actionable that we can do in our business now, which is what we're gonna do now. Still, if anybody needs an accountability buddy, like reach out to me and just say, these are my goals, I'm putting it out there. That way when you see me on Saturday, if I'm not doing it, you can just say something to me. I recommend you have a more robust accountability partner and not somebody that works 90 hours a week and is probably spinning too many plates. But still, it's better than nothing. I really want everybody to like crush it in 2025. Not to sound cliche, like we really should. I've had an opportunity to speak to a lot of you one-on-one. I know you're like about to just blow up. Like I know you're about to blow up. So like I really want this year to be good. Don't get any setbacks. Don't lose sight of your goals. Like reach out to me. Like let's really make 2025 amazing, right? Bruce, it's your year. You guys are about to go nuts. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna say this personal update just because I've wanted to say it, but I've been very hesitant to say it. But it's probably the most impactful thing I've done on the back end of 2024. And don't worry, I'm not gonna turn into a preacher on this. But we talk a lot about in business about knowing your data and how important data is, and it is. Especially somebody who does PPC a lot and vets products a lot. Data is everything. I neglected and had a lot of health. Some of you know I had a lot of health issues in 2023 and 2024, but I decided to had some scares and decided to get a little better with my personal data. And by that I mean like blood work, and Bruce has been a great accountability person, not helping me in a formal sense, but like giving me some guidance and like surrounding yourself with people that are knowledgeable on stuff like diet. But one of the things I did was my blood work. And I guess for some of you that might be something you do regularly. For me, it was not. And it was not good. So I needed to do some stuff. One of the things that I noticed, and as a guy, testosterone apparently is like your alpha hormone, is mine was on the floor. So, especially the guys, but I'm gonna say girls, and I'm not a doctor, but I suggest everybody checking their blood work, because I had no idea what was going on with me, and I just wasn't as efficient, and I was like, well, maybe it's because I'm 48. It doesn't have to be that way. I talked to a doctor too. Talked to a doctor, I got legit, I got blood work, I got a regimen to like attack this the same way I would a business problem, and the results for me have been like almost overnight, like taking some of this stuff. So I would hate, the only regret I have, and this is why I'm saying it, is I wish I would have done that like in 2021. So for those of you that are turned off by me saying that, I'm sorry. For those of you that are not, I really hope you do it.
I read similar two-liner really quick. I share. I did. Somebody said that like if you think you're behind about things in life, in finances, in your career, and you need to do more, work hard, take care of your health, you will have more time.
Yeah, that almost sounds the one.
Buy you some time.
Yeah, it almost sounds like one I heard about that meditation is like, I was like, I don't have time to meditate 30 minutes a day, and they're like, then meditate an hour. You know what I mean? So anyhow, I cannot recommend it enough. Like everything else that we're going to talk about today, don't worry, it's going to be like so hardcore Amazon. You're going to love it, but you technically could do everything that I say for the rest of this meetup. And if you got something going on the other one, or you're just unknown on the other one, in my non-medical opinion, it doesn't matter, right? So please do it. The person that I go to all the way, and no kickback for me, is this place called BioCell that just happens to be near here. They've been fantastic, and it's with a real doctor. So, okay. Anybody that wants more specifics on that too, by the way, don't hesitate to reach out. Like, reach out to me. I'll share everything that I'm doing, and we'll go from there.
I think e-commerce is probably on the top of the list that giving the stress to your body. I think there's numbers, study and numbers out there, and unfortunately, e-commerce is very stressful.
Yeah, no, I could vouch for that. Yeah, 100%. I can vouch for that. Yeah, I'm the poster boy of that. I just hate. I feel hypocritical that I come in here all the time talking about data and showing everybody like, vet this, prove that, and that I was just not doing something which should have been the most important thing that I was doing, and could have cost me a lot dearer, So, and there's just so much stuff out there with technology nowadays. Like, you think the technology on PPC stuff is crazy. Like, you just see what they got on the personal side. Like, they can fix stuff. Like, you can get ahead of stuff. So yeah. Last one before we start getting into the Amazon stuff that I wanted to bring up is the thing of coaches. And no, I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm going to say that something that's been very impactful for me as a seller through the years is always having coaches in certain areas to help me get to a certain area. 2024 for some reason, and maybe it was you missed my whole thing. I told you I was going to do it. I finally built it, and I talked about getting blood work and hormones and all this stuff that I did. Yeah. I was just talking to her about it yesterday, saying I wanted to do it. Anyhow, 2023 and forward, I was just like, I got this thing I want to solve. Who's doing it the way I want to do it? Get them to be whether it's a trade of services, whether it's hiring them formally as a coach, whatever the coach may be, I would do that. For some reason, back end of 2023, all through 2024, I didn't. And I think maybe that was the health stuff going on that having not done. Anyhow, I changed that. And I started hiring coaches again, like in my specific areas to help me grow. So just a reminder for you guys, like I've been doing this full time for 15 years. I've put up some crazy numbers, I guess you'd call success numbers over the last 15 years doing this Amazon e-com thing. If I'm hiring coaches to do it, like you're gonna be pretty hard to debate that with me that you shouldn't be, right? Obviously, fine, don't go hire like the most expensive. The price doesn't really, it matters here, but the more expensive doesn't necessarily mean what you need right now. You can get a coach, and if it makes you bankrupt, that's not good for your business. So, but get coaches in don't get one coach, in my opinion, that covers every aspect of your life. Get specific about specific areas you have.
Where do you find, like, depending on what you're looking for, where do you find like a person to provide?
Sometimes it's like when you're doing the research on something,
Okay.
or you see somebody like we have somebody in the group named Alexei who does is he here? No. Well, Alexei is from the Spanish group. Go figure, he joined this group and was like an arbitrage seller. And then one day he's like, you know, I want to speak on stage and I want to start speaking. He's like, well, how about you just jump up here with me side by side, and why don't we start there? And we did. Now he runs the entire Spanish side of the Wizards of Ecom. He speaks on stage. He's just a brilliant, brilliant person, entrepreneur. But one of the things that got my attention is his, I hate the word balance, but like his balance with work and family. It's amazing. It's so impressive. So I went to him and I was just like, man, like, you're doing this thing that I just cannot crack the code on. I don't want to let my foot off the gas at work, but I do want to have the personal side going on too. And he pointed me in the right direction on some stuff. So sometimes it's just like looking and seeing who do you wish you were kind of like in that regard. And then some other stuff might be personal stuff. If it's a therapist, get a recommendation for a good therapist, you know, which again, I went to a friend of mine and did that. If it's a coach, Niudka, who's in the group, who some of you may know, her husband apparently is like just one of the best trainers out there when it comes to training, and because she's part of the group and everything. Thank you, bro. You can say ow. His testosterone, right? That was a testosterone handshake, no. But it shook me up, and I've been now doing training with him. So like, some of it's just asking, like, and if there's an area, I might know somebody. Like if there's an area you wanna know about. So yeah, asking, looking, researching something, and saying, wow, what that person says is like specifically. Just be careful when you do, and make sure like you could. Somebody asked me what was the most over this Christmas break. They said, what's the most common and expensive mistake that Amazon sellers make? And it was it sounds easy, but it was very difficult to do it, because initially you're going to say money. They started something and they didn't have enough money to do it, but in reality, that's a very controlled thing, because when you run out of money, the pain can't keep going on because it's over, or you couldn't start it because you didn't have the money. In reality, when it hit me, it's taking great advice, taking the advice that was great for somebody else. So I may know Cesar really good, and I know a lot of stuff about Cesar. And Cesar's like, I want to launch a PL. I'm gonna like give him advice about his PL and what he should sell based on what I know about Cesar. There is no one bit of advice all of you can take and it's all gonna work. Some of you are, like the advice I would give somebody, they're like, I wanna do arbitrage. And I'm like, well, okay, that's gonna take about 30 hours a week, but you work 2 jobs and you're the mom and dad in that relationship, there's just no time for that. Like, so, but you heard me give that advice to somebody else and you were just like, let me do that. And you did it and it didn't work and you're like, oh my God. So it's advice that was great for somebody else. So make sure that who you get as a coach or who you're modeling, that you understand what are all the things that's going on in their life.
Yeah.
So it's apples to apples. Make sense? Yeah.
Totally.
Any questions so far before we get into some Amazon stuff?
Really quick, right?
Yeah.
Arbitrage, you're using the word a lot. Like really quick, whatever you want to explain a little bit in what context you are talking about arbitrage.
Man, that is awesome. It's the beginner hour, and I shouldn't have assumed that everybody knows what arbitrage is. So arbitrage is, we're gonna do my example. So on the east side of Miami, they're selling oranges for $1, and on the west side of Miami, they're selling oranges for $5. You're aware of that. So you buy the dollars, you sell them to Ramon for $3, so he can in turn sell them for $5. So profiting off of the knowledge in the discrepancy in those prices is what arbitrage is. In Amazon speak, retail arbitrage is going into a retail store and seeing something or scanning something that's $1, and then seeing that it's being sold on Amazon for $5, which means no money, but nowadays we're like being sold for $30, and then seeing after the Amazon fees, here's what I'm left with. So you'll hear us say RA or retail arbitrage. Online arbitrage is the same thing, except different tools to find a deal on the online version of that store and seeing what you can do to profit from it on Amazon. But that's it. Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Quick question about what you said about the Amazon influencer program. I was looking at something the other day people are saying, nowadays when you have a brand, people, and I agree with this, what do you think? People really want to see the face behind it. They want to connect with the person more than just like the products, which I'm sure you could still do very well, but it's a little more, you know, personal, a connection with like the person or the story behind the product. So let's say you do private label and you're gonna be like the face of your product. Do you feel like it's a little bit of a conflict of interest to then do the influencer program? Wouldn't it kind of water down your brand?
So I'm gonna say no, I don't think it would water down your brand, because people want to see themselves, or what they would like. Can I use your product?
Fine,
Yeah.
I don't care.
So Ramon specializes in board games.
Yeah.
If his dorky looking self was the only one there holding, you said I couldn't, holding this board game, like, right? You probably wouldn't want to buy it. But he's used his family in his pictures for his photo shoots. And when you see the family playing that game, even though you know that's not your kids, it's not your husband or your wife, you're thinking that is the vibe I want, and that's what I envision that happening. So can be lifestyle pictures, it could be lifestyle video, or what we kind of bunch all that together under is UGC, or user-generated content. So it sounds like what you're saying is, if you're going to be the face of your brand, then does it defeat the purpose to have other people in there doing it? Maybe it's diluting what you're doing. So I'm going to say no, and I can't think of a scenario where that would happen, where there'd be a downside to that happening with any product. Like nowadays, if you have a product, I mean, I guess unless it's geared towards a specific, you know, something that's unique to a specific race or culture, I think you want to show everyone with it, every shape, color, size, shade, gender. You want to show it all, because you want all of them to potentially be your customer. I would say even, I'm treading on thin ice here, so I want to just think about my words. Like, I would say even like Manscaped. I believe some of the Manscaped's a men grooming product, but like initially it was mostly men being like, yeah, we got this man grooming product, but now the ones that convert the most are actually a woman basically saying, I bought this for my guy. So there's no dilute there. As a matter of fact, the product is geared towards one gender, and another gender converts better when they're in the thing. So I can't think of a scenario where that would hurt.
Okay.
Anybody else want to chime in on that, by the way? Yep.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, when it comes to entrepreneurship, like, we're defined by our ability to accept the hustle and accept that we'd rather do the hard work than to take the paycheck or the hours.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when you're creating a brand, nobody's gonna know you. Nobody's gonna know that you represent that brand. Nobody's going to actually say, oh, just because you also talk about other products, you're not a good spokesperson for your brand. We're so small in the grand scheme of the total addressable market of whatever product you're going to start a brand for, that it doesn't really matter. Just hustle, make your money. And ultimately, if you grow so much that it may be detrimental to your brand, then at that point, then figure out what you're gonna do. But just do your thing.
Yeah.
Work it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
go ahead.
Chime in and say, I'm fortunate, my audience wants to see what my cat is doing, what my cat is playing when it goes out. That's just, it's just a good thing for me.
That's the face of the brand.
Right, the cat sells the product for me.
I just wanted to chime back in real quick about what you said about coaching. And if not everyone wants to like have a one-on-one coach, there's certain people, like I just found that I'll be scrolling on Instagram and I'm like, why am I, like, your puppy's cute. I mean, I do rescue, that's a bad example. Your kid's cute, but like, I started filtering out, I don't need this certain thing. So everything we see on our feed, that goes into our subconscious. So there's people that I specifically follow. There's this one guy, friends of mine, but he was broke, alcoholic, in rehab, completely life fell apart. I met him later, but long story short, he's, I don't know, hundreds of millions in crypto. He's like the top 1% of it. Anyway, so it's funny you said about coaching, because he mentioned, not in an egotistical way, but he was saying about coaching, he spends now, and it was in scale to what he was making at that, he spends $38,000 a month on coaching now. And I was like, oh my God. So if you just so anyway, the point is, I'm saying that stuff rolling through your feed will impact you over time. So just be careful what is in your subconscious, because like me, like I do fitness too. So it's like, I'm like, okay, if I keep constantly seeing the fitness, it might make me not want to, like, you know, keep the ice cream in the freezer.
I love that you're saying that. Like, I actually wanted to hit more on those other subjects, but I didn't want to overwhelm you, but that guy's on point. And what I've paid for coaching, again, you could get some great coaching. Like maybe you could consider some of this coaching.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Right, you could get, not all coaching has to cost money and not all coaching has to be expensive, but almost anything you want to do at scale, you are gonna need to there's also something like too much coaching.
Right.
So like you almost gotta have a content diet and realize, okay, I could have all these groups teaching me everything, or let me just pick one and go all in on this one and then reevaluate. So yeah, that's a big one. And as far as social media, one of the things I did last year, and I was shocked by how almost like physiologically it was affecting me when I did, but I took social media off my phone. I just removed it. I'm not anti-social media. Look, your phones now have a tracker if any of you are like unsure about this, and just go in and look at how much you're spending there and just say, hey, if I put that into, I don't know, working out, something intentional, like what would that look like? And I just didn't like where mine looked. I feel like I was not winning the discipline battle when it came to that. And the other thing I would say for everybody here, especially in the beginner hour, but this isn't a beginner thing, is you will forever feel bad if you're tracking everybody else's screenshots of their sales on social media, which half of them are fake, by the way. I could send you people on Fiverr who could give you authentic looking screenshots of whatever number you want. So like, don't do it. You don't know what's going on the back end. It doesn't matter. I was at 8 figures before and couldn't put gas in my car, so it means nothing.
Yeah, and also my new iPhone, I think I got the 16. It actually
Show
really,
off.
I don't know if you guys, it hurts my eyes, for real. Like I notice a difference, and I'm actually glad I'm not able to be on my phone as much, because it is hurting my eyes. Even though I keep it over here, there's gotta be some difference in my other iPhone.
It is. I do feel the same, especially if you love reading your phone before sleep and all the lights are off, and you better do something with the light. Otherwise, your eyes gonna. Even I'm 36 years old. I don't mind, and it's still able to increase your prescription.
Yeah, think about it.
Prescription.
And like you were mentioning, that Ecom sellers have that as an issue that we deal with a lot, because we don't leave the office, like, as long as we got this with us. Like,
Yeah.
how many times do you scroll to check on sales?
So I have a beginner question on the video.
Love it.
Can I post on my home listing those influencer videos, or like not a brand video, but of people unopening or
Yeah,
review
so-
videos? Can I post that myself, or do reviewers need to post that?
So if a video is going to go up as part of the Amazon Influencer Program, it shows up in specific spots for the Amazon Influencer Program, and the influencer would need to have uploaded it through their portal. So I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to get that video off of Amazon and repurpose it. Now, if you, which I'm going to get into today in today's topic, like let's say as part of your getting your listing ready to crush it, you decided you want to reach out to a few people you knew here in the group, because unlike product reviews, you can go to some people here in the group and be like, hey, do you mind creating I'm looking for an unboxing video. And I think like you'd be perfect to do that. Something simple, not high produced, do you mind doing it? In that scenario, they're gonna do it. And you might also be able to say, do you mind if I have it? And they'll give you the copy of that. Like they're doing it to support, right? I think that's pretty powerful because one of the video types that does really well on Amazon right now for sales is vertical video. So if you get, and you don't see much of it, which is pretty wild, but if you get a vertical video done of, say, an unboxing, and the person gives you the video file, you're able to go to the Amazon Posts program and upload that as a post in your feed. And then if you have a bunch of influencers doing this, you have a bunch of those videos, you now have some cool options. You can get all those videos and put them together in a montage, which is kind of expressing, you know, everyone of every shape, size, and color, and put it up like the product. It checks the lifestyle box, and that montage can be used as a video ad on Amazon now as a sponsored brand video ad. But even more is each of those videos that you posted as a standalone vertical video on Amazon Posts. You guys with me? I'm trying to, on the Amazon Posts dashboard, you see how well they performed. And when you see, oh wow, the one of Cesar is crushing it. When you go to create a sponsored brand video ad, you can select that one as your creative. So it's kind of like verified on the platform. This does amazing. Yes?
Where do you see AI using
So AI used for reviews is not allowed on Amazon, but AI,
I'm talking about the actual not real, how do we call them PCs? They're not real people.
yeah. I think it's going to do great.
Hello.
Yeah, I think it's going to do great if it's a high enough quality. I don't know where you probably remember ManyChat.
Yeah.
When it came out, okay? So when ManyChat first came out, a bunch of us were like, let's make people think it's a real person. And pulling that off was close to impossible, so instead you just pissed a bunch of people off. But the people that said, I'm gonna say, hey, this is Merlin, a fun bot that I created to help you out. If you need me, just say. So they knew it was intentional. Like, so then people were not offended. So I don't know with AI videos and UGC where that's gonna be, that if it's not good enough and someone suspects that that's not a real person, but you tried to push them off as they were, are you turned off and you're like, well, what else is not real about your product? And then if it's amazing, then you don't know, then that's great. You can scale the crap out of that and not pay any money. So I think it's gonna be very powerful. I think it's gonna be an amazing thing. I will also say, in my opinion, that if you were a great storyboarder, if you were really good at creating ads, if you really were great at copy, and you have AI, you're gonna be that much better. But if you were junk or mediocre, then you're gonna have flashier junk and mediocrity.
Are you familiar with HeyGen?
Who?
HeyGen? It's right now, it's from 2 months ago.
HeyGen.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
amazing.
yes, I'm hearing a lot about it now.
I'm just
HeyGen. We were
seeing-
just talking
I'm
about
seeing-
HeyGen, I think.
I'm
at
seeing
breakfast.
the incremental, you know, it's Moore's Law is dead. This stuff is gonna, in 6
Oh, hold
months,
on,
gonna be
Cesar,
amazing.
that's who, you were telling me about HeyGen. He's really deep into it. Cesar is.
What is it?
HeyGen.
So you can video yourself, and then you can type in text, and you can actually not even have to video yourself anymore. And it's,
So-
it's 3 months ago. it
So
was
somebody
bad.
from the group named Elvis, he's a digital nomad now, but he was in town for a little while. He says, hey, do you mind if I take like a 1.5 minute video of myself in your podcast studio? I was like, yeah. But apparently that's all that was needed for him now to have a full-fledged podcast and podcast studio with video just in perpetuity on any topic moving forward, because it had enough elements from that room to do anything else that it needed. He needed to do like this, say like a 1.5 minutes of anything, and it needed nothing else. So I was like,
Create an avatar, so you can create.
somebody throw him a mic.
Make
Can you
a
throw?
script put it to the software, and you already have a video with the thing that you want to type.
So wait, the AI is gonna then take you, like you're saying the words?
You make a video of 2 minutes,
Right.
A world of
talking
10
about
canvases,
whatever
yes.
you want.
Yeah.
And then with that, you create an avatar. Then you put in Hey-End,
Right.
you make a script, and the system is gonna take the video that you have with the script, and it's gonna make a video talking about what you put in the script.
It was mind blowing.
Does it look real?
I was gonna say, you guys wouldn't
It's
need-
real. The big problem right now is with the audio. I'm using 11 Lab to create a more real voice about myself, but the video is amazing. You're gonna have some glitches, but you can play in addition to put other image, whatever you want to do. But you're gonna have 80% of your video made in 10 minutes.
The B-roll, you cover that.
Yeah.
What he showed me that he did it in front of me. I was just, and it gets better the more you, but like out the box, it seemed like some cybernet stuff to me. Like it seemed like, yeah.
When you work with Amazon influencer, and you run a sponsored ad on the video they created, is there a commission split for the sales that go through that ad to the creator?
Not through a sponsored ad yet. They do have something in beta right now that will allow that to happen. But I don't know if it's gonna like stick
Okay.
or when it will happen. But they're testing that. But as of right now, no.
And you were talking about Amazon feed. Is that like the shorts for the Amazon? Because you said post.
Right. So, do you have a computer with you?
No, I don't.
I would pull it up here, but for some reason this is not turning on today. But if you go to the Lego storefront on
Okay.
Amazon, and you go to the last tab under more, you'll see posts. And if you go there, you'll see all the feed in their posts, which is like their social feed. You'll also, if you have your mobile phone,
Yeah.
you shop on Amazon.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good answer. And when you do that, you'll see on the app in the bottom the Inspire feed,
Okay.
which is all tying in together.
So it would show up there.
I sent in group, I sent chat to link Instagram about avatar.
Okay. Yeah.
Send.
We're trying to guilt trip Cesar into doing a presentation on AI. So the more of you that
I will.
he wasn't ready for that, but the more of you that guilt trip him afterwards, the greater the likelihood we get that to happen.
Use AI in Amazon.
Yeah.
Do you need to sign anything when you're working with creators?
I guess if you're talking to a lawyer, they say you should sign for everything.
Yeah.
For a small fee for their help. But I've never, if I was working with a creator and they were gonna go on my packaging, or if I was gonna be investing a bunch into like producing a video and they were hired talent, I would have like image releases and all this other stuff. If I'm talking to a group member or I'm working through a platform like Levanta or Join Brands or something, I kind of have the agreement built in through the platform.
Yeah.
I've never went out and created something formal, but I guess you could get ChatGPT and say, create me a legal, release form and go from there.
Okay.
I don't know, Candy?
If you do the Amazon influencer program, do you do that under your personal shopping account, or you do that under your private label Amazon account?
We did it. We're up to 3 now, and our first one
What
was
do you mean,
top.
you're talking about the one you and your wife tried it?
So my wife and I did one,
Uh-huh,
and we did that one tied to our personal. I'm pretty sure it's tied to my personal buyer account.
right.
I didn't know then, and can anyone chime in on this now? You don't have to tie it to your personal buyer account, right? So yeah, you don't have to. Then the next one we did because a friend of mine got his account like sort of suspended, and it's like, well, that's a thing. So I created another one, And then we created a third one recently just for like experimental purposes, but neither one of those are.
Just as an advice, because any account that gets shut down for a million reasons on Amazon, I will create something completely separate.
Yeah.
That is neither your shopping account.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should review the products that you buy, but it's even better if there's no link between the product you bought and review and maybe have to return. And then you don't wanna definitely mix it with your private label, so you can create as many accounts as you
Do
want
you
on
do it?
Amazon. Yes,
And it's just totally separate?
completely separate. It's not linked to my buyer and it's not linked to my private labels.
Okay, last question, kind of separate. I always get things, start your Amazon business account, because you could say blah, blah, blah. What am I missing? Should I do that? Like, I don't get it.
You already have an Amazon seller account, right? Is that what you're saying?
I have a seller account that's just setting up all my private label stuff, and then I have my shopping account, but it's always like, if you switch to blah, 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 if you, Amazon business.
So you're talking about business?
Business account, yeah.
Yeah, I've not found, we had it for a while, but there's some things that you can't do on a business buyer account that you can do on a personal.
Like what?
Well, one of the differences is the minimum order that you need to place on the buyer side. I believe it's $40 more. Like you have to hit $65 in an order, which is still not bad.
Well, it kind of is, because how many times do we like, I don't know.
Oh, so you're
Buy
like me.
now.
As a seller, you can offer special business
Right.
pricing, right? So that's kind of where it starts. I mean,
Uh-huh.
ultimately, the catalog is the exact same. There's no difference between the Amazon business and Amazon regular. But as a seller, you can set up business discounts, for example. So
Right.
if you sell X amount, if you buy X amount, you get X discount. I think Amazon has tried really hard to push that service, and it hasn't really
Right.
worked. It's more, I think, targeted to big companies when you have to buy massive amounts of
Right.
office supplies, maybe. But for you, there's no benefit, because number one, you're gonna have to pay now for another Prime. So as a business buyer, and as a seller, all you have to do is just set business pricing on your own seller account, and you're done with it.
So you
Yeah,
answered me, I can keep ignoring the emails.
I switched back to just a personal
Yeah, okay.
one. What I do, and I don't realize it, I'm surprised that more private label sellers don't do this, except for the time that I'm just like impulse buying something, which happens a lot with Amazon. But if I have some thought to it and it's a business thing, I can't remember the time that I've reached out to a seller of a product and asked for a discount, like a code, and didn't get it. It's almost 100% yes that they'll give it to you. And it's a matter of you reached out to them, you want to buy right now, you want to receive it tomorrow. They might not respond for 2 days, but if you're just looking for, if you wanted to get better discounts in most cases without having that set up, you just reach out to the seller and they'll give it to you.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
How do you do it?
Just reach out and say, can you create a coupon code for me because I want to buy X? Think about it, as a seller, if you had the margin and someone says, I want to buy from you, could you give me a X? How many of you would say no? Of course you wouldn't, you just want a sale. So it's the same thing, like you as a buyer, you could just reach out through the message board.
For the 3 seller accounts that you were talking about, are they all different brands?
So
or-
let me take a step back, because Carmen said something too when you guys were there, and I want to make sure I didn't misunderstand something. My Amazon influencer accounts are not connected to a seller account. Is that what you were asking me?
Well, are they connected to
One of mine
anything?
was connected to my personal buyer account,
Yeah,
but it was more of it wasn't intentional. It was kind of at the time I just did it.
yeah.
And I had to think when you were asking me, so the other 2 are different, but none of them are connected to I don't connect anything to my seller account.
Yeah.
Not even like a Wi-Fi I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
Yeah, and are they all different under your name? Because
The only thing they have in common is my name, but they're different business entities. They got Amazon's blessing, even though it's apparently not needed anymore. They're different EINs, different phone numbers, different bank accounts. The only thing they share is my name and maybe business partners, but my name's across them.
yeah, and
The modem and the router and the Mac ID from the device, but that's it.
you have a router for each of them.
No, on these accounts they share it, but again, the majority of them, and some of them for me are just dormant,
Yeah,
is prior to 2019 at least, you had to get permission from Amazon to do that. and they had to approve it, you had to give it a nickname, and then once you had all that, you were allowed to use the same modem, router, all that jazz.
Yeah.
But something changed, and Amazon didn't announce it, to where they're like, just abide by the rules and you're fine, you can do it.
Yeah.
The thing is, there is different rules for multiple accounts that most people are not aware of. Like, they can't sell the same thing, they can't share the same phone number. So you could still get suspended for not following the rules surrounding multiple accounts.
Okay.
Remember, you've been using Amazon, you've been using it for a while, right?
Yeah.
2000, I think it was 18 or 19. Remember, Seller Central went down in January. Remember what that was from? Anyone ever did? I never found any information from it. Did they get hacked?
No, I know AWS was down.
So was Seller. Everything was down. Seller Central was down.
I think that's happened a few times.
Quite a few times. Multiple times a year.
It was so traumatic for me that I blocked it out. Okay. Any other questions? If not, I got one more thing before we get into today's topic.
How was your trip in the AI trip?
How was the AI trip? I never made it. So I tried to rally everyone together to go to AI Summit in Orlando. Just because I'm a little numb to the whole AI thing, but this was in Orlando, it was Perry Belcher, and I was like, it's a bright line trip away, I'll do it. Tickets were pretty affordable, and then I realized that I didn't have on my calendar that I was filming this week with Alibaba. So we filmed most of the week here with Alibaba, and I had to choose between the two, and I was definitely gonna, continue the relationship and everything I'm doing with Alibaba, so I had to cancel the trip. I tried to let everyone I know, everyone I could know, that I canceled it on Meetup, I sent a message, but some of us did go. From what I heard was that it was, Perry Belcher was very salesy, that all of the speakers had a course to sell, not a shocker, but that there was a lot of, if you went there and you haven't been doing your best to keep up with AI, you learned a lot about AI, so. Also, I'd have been a little upset, but all of it was live streamed, and everyone got free recordings of the event. So you paid for a ticket, not really for the content, but to be able to sit down and watch it in person. But it was, you could get access to it right now, the whole event. Right, so, yeah, so I was kind of like, okay, that would have influenced me buying the ticket. Okay. Every January when we start back up, I like to talk about dead inventory or slow inventory. Some of you didn't hit your goals that you wanted to do for Q4. That's okay. I heard from a friend who's still waiting on the holiday inventory to come in. Oh, that's okay, right? It's okay. I wrote down a few things that you could do to move slow-moving inventory. I'd rather just call it, and I think you may need to make this decision fast. So if you, in many cases, destroying the products are the best way to go. And it's a very difficult decision, but you need to make it now. Because if you hold on till March, if you hold on till late next month, it's really too late. So I think what is it, sunk cost fallacy? Like you feel like I already put this in, I can't just destroy it, I gotta stay with it. Maybe I'll run ads or I'll drop prices and I'll do coupons. A lot of the times when you factor Amazon fees in, the coupons, the promos, and all this other stuff here, you would have made more money paying to destroy it and taking a loss. So I strongly encourage everybody who has inventory that's slow or dead, because maybe you haven't deemed it dead because you're not a quitter, right? Just if you have slow or dead inventory, to take a look at your numbers and consider destroying. I believe destroying now is like 20 to 50 cents, 25 to 50 cents per unit, 20 to 40 cents, something like that. It's like 20 to 40 cents per unit to destroy it. You have 2,000 units, you do the math right there, the pain ends. If you're already dealing with long-term storage fees right now, it's going to be much worse than that. If you're already in late storage fees right now, it's going to be bad. Like, get rid of it, burn it. let them destroy it cheaper. If you recall it, the next most gratifying thing is a bonfire.
What about using liquidation or donation?
So the other ones I have here, I'm not clear on what, I tried to figure it out real quick. I tried to figure out what the, I guess the tax break is of donating in Florida. I don't know. I used to know, I think when I used to flip books, used books on Amazon, it's been a long time, but I don't know what's changed. You could look into that. Worst case scenario, if you don't get a tax break, you did a good deed. But keeping long-term storage fees is not going to help anyone but Amazon. So 20 to 50 cents to destroy it. In almost every case, that is the best thing to do. One of the other ones you can do is you can do bulk. You could create another SKU, another ASIN on Amazon, and you could do merchant fulfilled on that ASIN, and you can do a bulk listing. And then I don't have high hopes for that for most categories, but if you do and you get the sale, you can multi-channel fulfill it from your other ASIN and just send it all out, right? Obviously, you don't want to recall it, hold it, but that's one that you can do. Social blasts I put here for just some of you that have a social media presence that would even mean that, make that an option. I think most of you do not. Two liquidators that I've worked with too frequently for my liking in the past is B-Stock and Topper Liquidations.
What about the Amazon liquidator?
I have that here. Deal with Amazon deals, Amazon liquid, I put Amazon deals, but there's a name for it. It's not Amazon
Outlet.
liquidation, but it's Amazon outlet.
Outlet deals?
Yeah, outlet deals. Check that out. But just
the easiest, I think, quickest outlet.
But not every ASIN is
Right.
Can be. I mean, it needs to be approved or something. And
Yeah.
I think when your sales are like that bad, you don't even qualify.
right. Yeah, it's in all. I'm telling you these right here. Run the numbers of recalling it and then selling it somewhere else. But just make sure, like, if you got a dud and you got 3,000 units and you need to pay for a storage unit to hold these things, and you need to drip these out on an eBay account over the next 5 years, it's not worth it. Like, destroy it. So in almost every case, destroy it. My goal here right now by saying this is for you just to like figure this out, because it'll wreck your year if you don't do it fast, in my opinion.
For removal orders, does Amazon charge you a pick and pack fee and the shipping fee to get that product from Amazon back to?
They charge you a fee. I'm not sure of the exact itemized breakdown of what that fee is.
It's not itemized. They just have a set. It's like per item fee kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a fee, and it's gonna be a lot more expensive than, guess what? Destroying it.
The destruction is the cheapest one.
Probably if you're gonna call back 200 units, it's gonna bring one box with 1, 2, 3.
You'll have this remote in a 24 by 16 by 16, one
And you get another
with this much
100 of
bubble
those.
wrap and enough paper to kill a tree. You know what I mean? Like,
And actually, it depends on the product size also. If you sell big products, some of your products is gonna get destroyed anyway while bringing it back.
yeah,
So.
they'll send your ceramic teapot in a poly mailer. Like, no, they will. They really will. It'll be
don't
like
care.
dust.
They don't care, they're gonna move it out.
Yeah, so like, I wanted to list those other ones just so you had them, and you don't think that I just ignored them, but in almost every case it's destroyed. If you're in this spot right now, you're dealing with a bunch of inventory, this month or next month, you're gonna be hit with long-term storage fees. I mean, reach out to me if you wanna just like get triple confirmation, but in almost every case, you need to destroy it. Okay? All right. So today's, yeah? Today's the 11th, yeah. Thank you, husband. We have, which by the way, any of that knows me that knows me, I feel like a lot more high energy, and normally the first meetup of the year, I'm like bouncing off the walls on like Cuban coffee. But one of the coaches I got is a trainer, and just thought I was a lemon and just juiced me for every bit of energy that I have. Like lifting my arms and doing this is a chore.
I saw the video.
You saw it, right? You know, he does those videos I think I said yes, he does those videos, he won't do the video on the first set. Like first set of the whole day, he does it.
When you cannot give
When
anymore.
when I need an asthma inhaler, and I'm like, I'm just like greasy sweat, I look like a beached whale. I'm just like, and then he hands me these weights that, I'm not trying to say anything mean, I know in 2025 you gotta be careful what you say, but he hands me these weights that I'd be like, my daughter would do these weights.
I was going to ask you.
They were
Not the
10s.
best.
They were 10s.
I'm like, how many ounces were those?
Yeah, they were like 10s, but let me tell you, I could barely lift
Do
them. I'm
that
not gonna
24
lie.
times.
At the end of these guys' workouts, there's nothing left. Like, it was, and you're laying down and you're doing them reverse. Oh, it's just, oh my God, I almost want to think about it. Like it's
You're
bad.
gonna love the results there, so you're good.
No, I'm there. I know you pain first, but anyhow, anybody that notices my energy, it's not a lack of desire for being here. It's more of just like I'm juiced. Okay, but you noticed the weights. You did notice that,
I
right?
did.
So you immediately looked at, well, how much is he lifting?
Well, but I waited and I saw like, okay, he's still doing it. Okay, well, I'll give
It
him
was
that.
about 30 reps to
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Of 5.
okay.
Yeah, I saw you doing
Oh, fives.
supersets. You were doing supersets.
Yeah, the maniac has me doing
I'm like,
supersets.
I like this guy already.
Yeah. You don't like him during the workout, though. Okay, so I'm going to put out 10 things I think you must do listing strategies to crush your Amazon launch, right? Or the creation of your Amazon listing for your Amazon launch, however you want to look at it. Obviously, I want to over-deliver, so I put 14. For those of you that want to keep track of the numbers as we go, I numbered them here. Last session, I told somebody, anyone who wants my notes, just let me know and I'll send them to you. A lot of people asked, so if anyone likes that and you want to see my crazy little notes and stuff, like reach out and I'll send you this in case you don't want to write them down as I go, all right? But do know it's not a fancy graphic. It's going to be a Google Doc with a bunch of my little crazy notes on it. So I'm going to start this one with something that is new for me, this name, because I wish I would have done this a long time ago, but the acronym here is new, is I decided to go all in on YouTube and grow the YouTube side of things. And one of the coaches I got for YouTube, he had this acronym called TTH, which is title, thumbnail, hook, right? And what he's saying is like the heavy lifting that goes into YouTube for the scripting, the video creation, the editing, like all that stuff that you're aware of, don't do any of it until you know you can get the title and thumbnail and hook done. Otherwise, if no one likes your thumbnail and no one likes your title, they're never going to click and look at your content. You understand? It doesn't matter. So successful YouTube creators spend an inordinate amount of time on the packaging of their video before they do any of the work that you think of. So when I heard that, a bunch of like bells went off for me and I was like, oh, this sounds very much like Amazon. So the title is your title, the thumbnail is your main image, and your hook, depending on the category, can be something else. It can be your secondary images, it could be your bullets if it's a really technical product like a printer. But main ones I want to focus on here is the title and the thumbnail, or the title and the main image. And what that means when you think about it is if you do a search on Amazon, you click on what gets your attention. You look at something, it gets your attention, the likelihood of you clicking on it is much higher. We make decisions in seconds. I believe it's 3 seconds, which is 2 seconds less than a goldfish, if I remember reading that right. So one thing that I recommend you do when you're creating these listings, and this I would put, I'm not going to go too deep into TTH today, I put that in the product development stage, but it's important for me to put it here first, so everything else below this can make sense. I do not think that you should be creating your listing, launching your product, doing anything like that until, or buying your product actually, mass producing it, anything, until you can see, and I'll use PickFu here as an example, but if you don't like using PickFu, which is like a testing, comparison, poll-like tool, you can use whatever one you want. But I don't think that you should be launching anything unless you can get like a 70-30, 80-20 split. If you can't win that click, then why do it? Like, and I look at most people's listings and I see, they're saying, I don't know what's going on, I'm just not getting the sales that I want. and with them, the most biased person in the world, I'll just isolate the main images that they sit next to, and I was like, which one would you buy? And they're, oh, and they get into like, yeah, but you know, my daughter's neighbor, he's got Photoshop, and like, you know, you realize that was the area they wanted to cut corners, or they're saying, yeah, but my catalog's so big, I can't afford to spend that much time on the main. That's the problem. You need to win. You need to win that, especially if you're not going to win on who has more reviews, and you're not going to win on who can sell the cheapest. You need to win on that main image. So I call that the TTH method. Within that, and as part of the listing, I'll go right into product photography and videography as number 2. So I have TTH method number 1, number 2 is product photography and videography. Yeah.
What's
PickFu is PICKFU. You can look at it. I can send you a link too that'll give you like I think it gives you like 50% off your first poll, but it'll do, I use it for everything. Like, why am I blanking?
Package design? No.
Sure, but like
Main
say
image
main
comparison.
image, and we'll go with Ramon's board games, and we want to know if it looks better having the pieces laid out outside of the packaging, or just the packaging and what it looks like and a nice cover. Anything you want to test. You're going to put it, and you're going to say, the audience I want looking at this and weighing in on this, I want them to be, you know, moms or, you know, parents with kids under the age of X, and you upload it. And in almost real time, those people start weighing in and voting on which one they want. And if you got the upgrade, they'll also give the comments as to why, which I think is where the real gold's at. And then you look at this and you're like, okay, you know, based on this is like way off anything that I thought. Or wow, I would have never thought that. One of the ones a lot of people should start with that they don't is they immediately jump to, let's compare my product against the competitor, right? One of the ones people should do is like compare it against a lot of different looks that you have amongst your own stuff first. And then when you have that, then just put it by itself and say, do you know what this product is? You know what I mean? Like, just by looking at it. You'd be surprised how many of you have products that somebody doesn't know what it is or what's included in it by just looking at it in a few seconds. It's going to allow you to test that and get real-time data and make tweaks, communicate with your creative team, your packaging team, whatever's going on, so that you don't get something up there that you're stuck with. You're like, yeah, I'll change it whenever I run out of stock. Okay? Questions on that?
On PickFu, so you could just use your, like, just no comparison, just literally your product.
Yeah, you can say, what is this?
Yeah, give me some.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know.
What is this? You know, say you had a product that was a lavender candle, and you showed your candle, and it doesn't say lavender. You don't know, you're so close to it, you don't know, you're about to launch this thing, and you put up there and you're like, what is it? And everyone's like, candle, but I wouldn't buy that. What scent is it? Is it scentless? Is it? And you're like, oh my God, like, how did I not put a nice little piece of purple lavender in the phone? Like, wow. So like, it keeps you, it's one of the best tools that I like. And again, what are some other ones, Ramon, that you like? You have a problem with it, because, not a problem with it, but you found more economical solutions.
For listing images, SERP comparisons?
SERP comparisons, main image listing, main image of your website, logo, anything. What you're gonna get your significant other for his or her birthday. Anything, yeah.
Have you ever heard of anyone ask, like, that sounds like really fun to me. How do you, like, become one of those people on PickFu that actually says, no,
Yeah.
this sucks, or I love this?
Yeah, so one of the places you can go to get on all the different things like that is if you go to pennyhoarder.com.
Penny order?
Pennyhoarder.com, it's an addictive site, but it's this site that tells you, like, want to make money watching other people's videos, and you know, want to make money from your own receipts and like all those different things. You you can get connected to those there. But like, for example, with PickFood, you could just, you could just reach out to them. And what happens is, I think dependent on the type of poll that was run and the amount of people that are involved in the poll, you might make a few cents, but you literally could
Oh, so it's really like,
make a few cents, you can make $1, you can make,
it's not worth the time.
yeah, but, I mean, better than TikTok, right? Yeah, but they all pay differently.
So Thomas, for a successful launch, whenever you're ready, have a product in your head, until you're ready to launch, how many polls do you recommend? I know you mentioned 2 here.
I don't have a specific amount that you need to run before you launch, but try to get to like a 70-30, 80-20 split. That means after you've narrowed stuff down and you're competing head to head with what you've identified as your top 2 competitors, one-on-one against them, to where you're winning 70% of the vote. You're getting 70, they're getting 30, you're getting 80, they're getting 20. Very difficult. It doesn't mean that if I don't get there, I won't go, but I need to be really close to it. You need to be careful if you're doing that against something like Clorox or some globally known brand, because it doesn't matter what you're tweaking, the decision that they're making is based off of the brand recognition. So there's some wild cards there. You need to be careful to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So like, if you're, sorry, I'm trying to talk slow because your stuff is very top of mind and I don't want to move it. Right, so say you have a pouch and your main competitor is a glass jar, and you're trying to do a head-to-head and you can't get a 70-30, 80-20 your way, there might be people there that just prefer glass jars. Or there are some people that just, it doesn't matter, they just want, one or the other. So if you can get it as close to apples as you can, then you try to go for 70-30, 80-20. But think about it, imagine there's somebody in the group that we're working to launch what's gonna be an amazing product. Candace knows who he is. But Rob, yeah, and he's comparing these sachet pouches. If he was here, I'd ask him if I could say the product, but he's not, so I don't want to say the specific product. But he's got these sachet pouches, and he's going up against his competitor that has a jar. And we're looking at it, and we're like, wow, the search terms here that are coming up, this jar is crushing it, like 90%. So it's going to completely change the direction of the product development now to say, we need to add a jar. So we're going to go from just a pouch to a jar. So that's why I'm saying it's so important. If you had 100% of your effort for me in the product development stage, I think you should spend about 75 of it in this PickFood area. And if you did, you'd be a lot better off.
Because that's the presentation of your product.
That's it.
Or you hit it or you lose it.
Right. That's just like your video on YouTube. It doesn't matter how good the content is inside. If nobody saw your thumbnail and the title, they ain't clicking. That's what it is. And what's even more important on Amazon is the top 2 things for most people is going to be reviews, and price, in a lot of cases. So you have to contend with that. So if you're not winning. If you're not even winning in the main image, so they're not even looking at you,
You're already losing.
why send the money to get your products mass produced? Okay, so product photography and videography.
Do you think it's necessary to have your own separate website to sell your product off Amazon?
I'm at my 2024 and 2025 answer to that is yes, it is. I think it is necessary to have your website. I don't think you should be spending, not knowing anything else about what you're doing. I don't think a chunk of your resources should be going into trying to scale it though right now. Amazon is still king of kings when it comes to launching
Yeah.
most products, right?
Yeah.
Least knowledge needed to be successful, lower barriers of entry, cheapest cost of per acquisition, most
Traffic.
unmature PPC ad platform, the traffic, #1 product search engine in the world, so that's still out.
Yeah.
But you should have a extra idea on the multi-channel.
You do. Yeah, you gotta have the website. I will also tell you that you will get more, whether that's 1 or 2 sales per week or hundreds, I don't know, but you will get more sales by having a website. Yeah.
More part of your brand compared to
Yeah.
where you sell it to.
Well, watch this.
Just want to see it's established product.
Yeah.
Yes.
You won't get a lot of sales, no surprises that doesn't at all, but it's your part of your branding.
Yeah, watch this. Create a website once you have some Amazon sales going on. Don't do any advertising or marketing. I mean, don't do this just for the sake of like proving me wrong, but like I've seen this. Just have your website, just create it, and then just track. Like put some Google tags or something on there and watch that you're going to get some traffic. Not a meaningful amount, but it's coming from Amazon. People are seeing you on Amazon and they're checking you out.
Yeah.
So like it works.
Could we just have like, almost like a landing page, just with links?
You could. I mean,
I
it'd be better than nothing.
But that's what I'm saying, like, if you're launching and like, I reserved my domain, and I remember I just checked it a couple of weeks ago, it was like 40 clicks in a week. I'm like, who the hell is coming here? It's not even up.
Imagine if it had a buy
I
now
know,
button.
I'm like, there's nothing even on it. I couldn't believe it. But I'm saying, what if it was just used almost like a landing page with all your links? You don't have to sell from there, right?
Well, it is. I want to say it's better than nothing,
Right.
but I don't know what that landing page looks like.
Well, I'll have your guy
And
do it.
and maybe it's
I'll
like.
have your guy do it.
Yes, then it's going to be fantastic.
Because he did an amazing job on my app.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But think that you have to have some kind of conversion there.
Yeah.
Something that transforming sales.
Yeah.
It could be a video, it could be a link to.
Yes.
their-
Yes.
Something I met. Well,
And just be careful with assumptions, I mean, maybe there's.
Throw it at
domain
Carmen.
is strong,
Maybe what?
maybe your domain name is pretty strong, and you
Right.
have a
I
bunch
said
of
throw it at
brokers
Carmen.
looking at it.
I have a bunch of what?
Brokers, domain
Yeah,
brokers.
uh-huh.
And so don't assume that people are searching for it, or, those clicks are coming from something that will convert.
Yeah,
Just be
no, I
careful
know,
with that.
there's no, I agree with you, I don't know what it was. I
Right,
haven't
right.
looked back at it in a long time, but, yeah.
For Amazon launch, how would you separate like product cost and product marketing?
Product cost and product what?
Yeah, like marketing. Like how much would you invest into like the actual product, and then how much would be designated to scale the product with like PPC or ads or your creator content?
So I feel confident in saying there is no exact number. A launch, I would equate to a rocket taking off, and it's everything firing on all cylinders. What's the alternative? You could say, I paid $1,000 for the product in inventory. My budget's 20%. My advertising budget's 20%. But then what happens when you run out of 20%? It's just sitting in your garage. So it's like you went all in. Like you have a budget that's all in for your business. Like you took your shot. You're taking your shot.
Yeah.
Be really smart about it. Hope you did all your due diligence in the beginning, but you went all in. It's when the rockets run out, if it didn't make it out of the atmosphere, it's coming down. So I personally have never seen that work ahead of time. It's very easy afterwards to say, my budget for that was X, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice. You totally ranked and then you just reversed the math, right?
Yeah.
No, so I can say a safe number in most cases is don't spend more than 30% of your budget on inventory.
Okay.
Assuming, say, a 30K budget, and you spent 10 on inventory, and I'm assuming you had your trademark, and you had your images, and you had everything, and you still spent 10 on inventory, you had 10 to operate on ads and software and whatever you're gonna do, and then you had 10 to where you could reorder without fully running out of stock. I'm not hating that, but there could be a lot of variables to make that not so perfect,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Anybody else, Carmen? What do you think?
That's really low. I think that's really low.
On which one? 10 and
You're
ads?
saying 10% for?
No. I'm saying if you had $30,000
Right.
and you spent 10,000 in product,
Oh, you're.
then you have $10,000
Oh, I see.
to spend in some marketing and everything. How much inventory could you have had at 10,000 in inventory?
Yeah.
Say you had 2,500 units. I like a $10,000 budget to move 2,500 units, unless it's a supplement. No, not 10% at all.
Right, that's,
Yeah.
so I think it's in line, because I was thinking almost like a 30% split.
Yeah.
Kind of a 30% on getting your, and none of this applies on launch.
Right.
Because during launch, it's like 100% ad spend, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
But like almost like a 30% inventory, 30% ad, and then you give the rest to Amazon.
Yeah, it's a launch.
That's a good way to say it.
And do you think PPC getting reviews or
I love your questions, man. I hope you come every Saturday.
PPC getting reviews or actually like getting content from your clients is like what's gonna accelerate the growth process in the beginning the quickest?
That's exactly what I'm going to go over to. I'm going to cover, like, I put 14 things here. There could be 60. The ones I put here, I think are going to have the chances of moving the needle and having the most impact.
Okay.
But PPC is going to, in almost every case, is going to be your biggest lever to like get sales, by design.
Okay.
Better photos, better video,
More than social?
more than, what are you talking about, influencers?
No. Brand, awareness in social.
If you have awareness in social, I don't know if you're taking a stab at me or if you're like, hold on, so if you have a very active social, like say like Moises, by the way, has been doing these like, which you guys are gonna see the videos soon. Moises is over there, by the way. He's been doing these like cool, you ever see those street interviews? Where you stop somebody? He's been doing some of those and asking people things like which main image would you, like kind of what we just talked about TTH in Dolphin Mall and like all different, like in real life, and he's getting like live feedback from people. But let's say that he was just stopping men and women and saying, smell both of these colognes or these perfumes, like which one impacts you more? I'll keep it as PG as possible. Like which one impacts you more, right? And then he starts compiling all this and he's got 1 million subscribers and then he decides he's gonna launch his own cologne. So he's got this social media, he's got his YouTube. Yes, social media would destroy PPC and profitability and ease of launch. In reality, I don't think anybody here has that going on. But it is very doable. But it is very doable. You just need to put in that work. And I think you should be, but it is very doable. So yeah, absent that, that's a good point. Absent that, PPC is going to be your biggest lever. Main image, definitely much more important than video on and helping you get those conversions. Yeah, but that's exactly what we'll dive into. I feel like I missed your question, like you got skipped or something. No, in the back.
It was back to the TTH.
Yes.
For research, I know you moved on already.
It's okay.
Quickly, it seems to me like for a novice person like myself, that would be, you said 75% should be spent there, roughly, right?
Yep.
So other than PigFu, what other methodologies would you do? Like friends and family, do what Moises do, go out and do test cases and really hone down as to whether or not you have a winner?
Voice food, sit in front of you.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
I'll tell you what, if that street interview stuff,
Yeah.
if you're talking to the right people, I love it over PickFood. So like assuming there was a dog park for poodles, or a dog park, it was very active, and that was your audience, and you could, without getting kicked out, get to talk to all of them and get their attention and get feedback on your thing with them, I think that's the best. It's not gonna happen probably. So absent that, I think PickFoo's.
It's the only platform?
No, there's other ones. There's Product Pinion is really good. Product Pinion has something that I like called simulated search. So it'll allow you to insert your product, maybe already tweaked and optimized based off PickFoo feedback, and it'll allow like a fake search to happen on an Amazon thing and see your product on this page, and someone can move through it and be like, what product? Because there's something else I like to do called scroll stopper. Like you, at some stage after PickFoo, you want to make sure that your product acts as a scroll stopper. Whoa, damn, that caught my attention. You know what I mean? So like, that helps you see, like, have you achieved that? So there's other ones, and I'm drawing a blank as to the names, not trying to like just pitch them, but those two are just, I feel like they don't have a close peer. They do have very close peers when it comes to price. Everyone else is like much cheaper. For a PickFoo poll, like one of the ones I described, you could spend $70, right?
On each question?
On each poll with feedback, if you wanted like 50 people. You know? Would you rather spend, say you did 10 though, what's this worst case scenario? You did 10 of them, you spent $750 over a few months, but it taught you something about the $10,000 order you were about to place and spend a lot of money on ads on, very worth it. Yeah. Okay. So product photography, videography, we did that. This is not the time to skim. Like, notice though that I have TTH method first before product photography and videography. How do you pull off a main image test if you don't have the product? So you do need to get a hold of a sample. This is probably where you're embracing a 3D render of the product because you don't have the actual finished product. That is a bit of a challenge there, but it is totally doable. The videography, I'm at a point with the videography that I feel I'm really liking AI. There's really, really good AI generated video stuff that you could create and insert your product in that I'm seeing on Amazon ads that are really good. If you don't feel like getting a full-blown video shoot, there's something called promo.com. Used to be called Slidely. That is really good. That you can, I think like $50, you can get like really, really gorgeous looking video and insert what you want of your brand.
Do you have any SOP for like what should be the goal with a video that you're gonna use in ads or in your product listing? Because
I don't have an SOP for that.
Anything that actually helps, right? Because video, yeah, it always helps, but something that helps better than other things?
Yeah, I would look at what your competitors are running. Like, do
how do you know it helps?
I think I don't know for a fact, but I think you can get a really good idea. Another thing you can do is kind of look at adjacent categories and what they're doing. So if you have a toy, board game with a bunch of pieces and cards and all this stuff, and you look at another category, which is, say, patio, lawn, and garden, right? We'll use Tom. Tom's not here today, but he's open about his products. So we'll use like a patio, lawn, and garden. But one of the types of videos that works amazing in that category is a time lapse of a plant growing. Everyone's seen something like that before. They suck you in. So you see that works in other platforms. Why not a time lapse of your board game? So you're like, what does a time lapse style video look like in my board game? Or another one, you might see a
freeze frame type of approach.
Freeze frame, right. So like, oh wow, that works really good in X type of category. How about, how would that apply in mine? That's about what I would do. I would look I'd look at my competitors. If what they're doing doesn't catch my attention, then I'll look at what are the other ones. And you only do that once, because once you now know that, you're like, oh, you're immediately going to say, what's a freeze frame video look like for this? What's a time lapse video look like for this? So I don't have like a formal SOP for it. Yeah. Number 3 is creating the listing. copy, title, description, bullets. I put set your canonical here. I think it's important. You're setting a few, well, I'll put 3 and 4 together. For 4, all it is set a future sell date.
Set a what?
Set a future sale date. To me, that's still very important, but I guess for some people it's not that important. But that basically, it's, you know, you're 4 months away from your product launching. Maybe you just say you put a start date 10 months in advance. You can always change that later, but that's going to allow you to come in there and create the actual listing. What I do is I'll put like a 5-word title initially, and it will just be, no one's going to see this, and it's just my top 5 important keywords that I'm going for. I'll create it with a future sale date. It'll set my canonical as those 5 keywords. Then I'll go in and edit the listing to put the title that I want, but my canonical's set. And I'll talk about canonical in a second.
That's
but-
what actually I wanted to, I thought you're gonna skip canonical. I do it, I know it, but I think it's really important and nice for us to understand what canonical is.
Yeah, so the canonical is basically the keywords. I call them keyword slugs. It's not I don't think it's the correct terminology, but if you're looking at the URL of your product on Amazon, it's gonna have some keywords that are in there. It's probably gonna have like your ASIN / and then some keywords. If you didn't really create your listing right and you set the canonical, then you can pretty much, that's the keywords you're ranking for anytime you randomly send your listing to someone and they buy it. And you're like, well, did I get any benefit from that? Did I rank it all? You're gonna rank on those canonical keywords. Or anytime you say somebody searches for tabletop board games and they buy Ramon's product, he'll rank for tabletop board games plus the keywords that are in his canonical. So it's keywords that are going to show that you're most highly relevant. They have a big impact on your listing, in my opinion, and I think they're ignored by a lot. Now, how they set the canonical is usually off of your main first five keywords in the title that you write. And if you wrote a title that was, you know, the one you had on Shopify that no one's complained about, or what AI spit out, or something else, and it read really nice, that's not necessarily going to help you as much when it comes to ranking. So I've not played much around with this. There might be other strategies, but what I do is I just drop my top 5 that I'm going for in the title. It's going to look ugly. No one's going to see it, and I'm going to go back and edit it anyway. It's got a future sale date. But I solidify my top 5 keywords in the canonical URL. Yep.
One last thing. I think also to the canonical, at the end, sometimes Amazon switches the canonical based on what they think it's right for you. So at the beginning, like, it's great what you said, you're gonna try to set it manually, but I think down the road, there's a high chance that Amazon, especially now with all the AI in the system, they're gonna change it. So it's good to kind of take a look at it, and if you think that it belongs, you should do it again.
Yeah, you can open a case and check.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got 3 was creating your listing, your copy, your title, your description, your bullet points. This is where you're going to go really deep into the keywords that should be in your listing, the keywords that are going to support the ad budget you have. I think you should only go after the keywords on launch that, like, a very keyword focused, not this broad, I'm going after everything. Here's where you're really going to, like, laser focus this into the creating of your listing. If this is not your strong suit, hire this. It's actually pretty affordable to get this done. It's going to have a major impact on your listing. Or learn it and learn how to do it and create it. But the chances are of you learning it and creating it and it being amazing all in the first week while you're also learning all these other things, in my experience, is not going to be good. And on Fiverr, you can find, if you prefer that over, you know, getting on a phone call and having a conversation with an agency, on Fiverr you can find some people that are really good with it. Just ask them what's their approach to doing it, and you're going to be much better off in most cases than you doing it yourself. Yeah. Any questions on that? Okay.
Yeah. What is, like, if you hire
So I created a Fiverr account, and no need to work with me on it, but I created a Fiverr account a long time ago as like a competition, because a buddy of mine did it, and I thought Fiverr was like, I use Fiverr a lot in my business to hire freelancers, but this person that I know, he's like somebody I looked up to in the business scene. I'm like, you sell on Fiverr? And he explained it was a great lead generator for his agency and all this other stuff, and I'm like, there's levels, and I was like, oh man, I got competitive, so I created one and became a Fiverr Pro. I went through all the ranks, and one of the gigs that I have up there is for this listing creation, specifically what we're talking about. And if you got the premium level one, which you may not need to, but I'd recommend, you're looking at $250, right? So like, it's a loss leader for us. That's like our break even, you know. But what happens is, because this guy said it's a great lead generator, sometimes somebody will do that and they're just like, man, this experience was great, working with you was great, customer service was great, this listing looks great, and then they wind up reaching out to you outside of it. So there's other people though that I'm sure if you ask them, they'd say they're much better than me. But you could be looking at anywhere from what I just said at $250 to $1,000.
$1,500 almost.
$1,500, yeah. Again, it's a heavy loss leader for us, but you're not getting lesser if you went that way.
Are they making, or are you making, or are they also making the A+ content?
No, that's your title, description, and bullets.
Okay.
Back-end keywords, and some keyword research. But there's really two types of people, and I can tell you this now we've had the Fiverr account for several years, but I could also tell you just from this meetup and talking to people is you really have two types of people when it comes to creating a listing. And one of them is, here's my product, can you create me something that pops? You know, just completely clueless to how Amazon works. And they're gonna get something much better than what they created. And then you have someone that goes in there and said, hey, here, they've already done the research, like, this is my product, here are my keywords. Here's what I'm trying to do, this is my budget, and I need to craft something that's like really targeted going after these one or two keyword phrases. So most people fall into the former and not the latter. But this would cover either one. A lot of people though that you work with are unable to do the latter. They could only do the former, and they're like, my AI writes 90% of it, Grammarly spell checks it, and then I submit it, and then they get positive reviews. So
How do you even know in the beginning, like what the best keywords are going to be?
Most people don't. Well, how do you know well, you have an idea when you bought the product.
No, I understand, but there's some keywords that are just going to be incredibly expensive unless you have product live. You're not really going to know whether you're going to be able to rank on those keywords or not, and you should pivot into the next ones. So man, you pay that much and you're not quite sure what keywords you should be going after?
Which one do you think's paid that much, the 1,500 or the 250?
Yeah,
the 1,500, right? So Ramon brings up a really good point, and that is, whatever listing you create at this stage, no matter who creates it,
doesn't matter.
It's not a static. That's not where you're married to. Like,
you're gonna need to change it
frequently.
Yep.
Right. Frequently. What you're trying to position yourself for best here is a launch at that stage. That's it. But based on the launch and based on the data, based on the money you paid in ads to get data, you're gonna change that. So if you have a listing, for example, if you're somebody sitting there and be like, what does that mean? My title's been the same for 3 years. There's an issue. Right.
For launch, how many, for the initial, how many keywords do you recommend?
I think you should go after, see that, okay, so that's a very, I would say that's almost like a Democrat-Republican thing. Like, it's so divisive, like what the answers are. I think you should go after 1 or 2 keyword phrases and just completely dominate on them.
Keyword phrases, not keyword, because
it could be keyword, but I would say keyword phrases. Go after 1 or 2 keyword phrases, and it would be very dependent to me on what your budget is, what your assets are. I mean, and I would just you're going all in on it. Like you're gonna die on that hill. Like, you're winning. You need to go all in on those 2.
But not just for like PPC, just like throughout the listing.
Well, you're gonna. What I'm talking about here is gonna be primarily your title and your back-end keywords. But yes, your title, your bullets, and your back-end keywords should, these are like your soldiers, and they need to all be focused on going after, for the same objective, And that objective is gonna be that keyword phrase or keyword phrases. You don't wanna be like, well, my title's going over here, but you know, the rear guard over here, like my description and everything and my A+, we're just positioning ourselves so maybe later on somebody who searches for this extra long, completely alternate keyword phrase, we could convert on if they made, you don't wanna do that. Right, so you wanna be very, very focused. A mistake a lot of people make is everyone knows keyword stuffing bad, but going after too many objectives in the beginning, I would say is probably where most people mess up. Yeah. You're also communicating to an algorithm or to Amazon, whatever you want to say, like what it is you're going after. And if you said, no, I'm bulking and I'm cutting and I'm training and you're sending too many mixed messages and you pay for that communication. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Yeah. We're gonna go with ladies first.
For the relaunch, first few words, should you put your brand name on it or no? Or
So 2021, 2020 on, there was a really good argument I felt for removing your brand name if possible. I was never a huge fan of that. I think having your brand name there is important. Nowadays, more and more, you're seeing with the rising cost of advertising and increased competition that your play, like what you should be going after, and if you're not, there's probably some fundamental things wrong in your business, is you want to increase your branded search. Like you want to increase your conversions on branded search is like where you want to be. You don't want to stay completely dependent not on that. And I think you need to put your brand name in there. Is there a case for during launch not having it? It's debatable. It's not my preference. In my preference, your brand name would be there.
So I'm commenting a lot, but I love this topic. So I would say I totally agree with what he's saying, but also it's where you start. What's your goal to creating the product? Are you in this game for long term? Are you short term? If it's for the long term, you want the brand to be known, so you want to add it. And also there's ways where you can add the keywords at the beginning, and maybe sometimes it depends on what it is. The brand kind of in the middle of the title somehow, if you know how to structure the title, if that's the case.
Well, Amazon just did I'll get you, but Amazon just did a pretty big announcement about some title changes that are gonna happen, so you still need to be focusing on one or two, in my opinion, as a strategy, keyword phrases during your launch. But how people approach the titles is gonna change because things like prepositions and stuff can still be used multiple times, but you can't use, in some categories it's different, but for the most part, you can't use the same keyword more than twice in a title. There's one category that it's like 3, there's another one that's 4, but just think 2. Is Amazon going to enforce that on that day? I doubt it, but they might start, warnings, suppressions, not letting Rufus, like their AI, so like they're putting people on notice. I think you should react to it. I don't think you should have the same keyword in there more than twice anyway. If you're doing it right, this does not hurt you. Yeah.
Can you use medium 10 to check how much each keyword costs per PPC? Or how can you really figure that out?
You could get a general idea. The only thing that's for sure is that whatever it costs now will cost more in a month.
You don't even need to use that. You can go straight into Amazon, you can create a campaign and say, give me the budget for this keyword, and we'll give you a number that means absolutely nothing when you actually start.
Right.
And if you do it in December, it's going to be very different than if you do it in March.
Right. Right.
So it really depends on the average of every product in that index for that keyword versus the category that you're in.
Fernando.
But Amazon things that you should convert versus blah 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 blah. They throw a number at you, you think, oh, I'm gonna work with this number, and then you start actually going and that's where you are.
Right. Moise?
With the same topic of the brand and the title, we're working on the automotive niche in Amazon. I don't know if it's different in something in another in other niche, but in this one particularly, we were using the brand name at the end of the listing, and it was doing good because like it didn't affect the main keywords that we wanted to put at the beginning to rank higher. But at the end, Amazon sent us email recommend us to put the keywords at the beginning. So we did, and we changed. We put the same brand name at the beginning of the title. What we realized is that then Amazon was putting in the search page, was putting the title, and the brand was on the top, like in bold letters, smaller. And then the title started with the main keywords that we put right after the brand name. So for automotive, I don't know if it's the same for all of them, but you can put the brand name at the beginning of the sentence, and it won't affect the keywords that you put right after that.
Yeah. Automotive and apparel are very different, but that's something across different categories. You know, Amazon has for those of you that want to nerd out with me a little bit on like title structures and stuff like that, but Amazon does have like a style guide for like the structure of what a title should look like. And if you looked at it, you'd be like, really?
Yeah.
And it's like brand, model number, color, size, SKU. They have one, like that's, but what's even more alarming is they don't follow it when they create the listing, and their algorithm though reads listings better in that format. So, but human beings are not going to convert on something that looks like, you ever seen somebody SKU? I get to see some of your guys' SKUs that you create on the back end, like money, faux life, and all that. Like, can you imagine that? Make more money. I've seen that on some of the stuff.
Well, guys, ultimately, when it comes to the title, we're all talking about semantics, about what works to index versus not index, or get your rank versus not get your rank. What's Amazon going to interpret this or that or the other? But ultimately, what really matters is for you to understand what is your product, the problem that your product is solving. What is a unique selling proposition? I personally like to put that in front. So, like, if you sell slim fit pants, I want to add the word slim fit in the very front of my title because I want people to understand right away what problem am I solving so that they can click on my product. That word slim fit, maybe you can squeeze it in the end and you're going to be able to index or organically rank for that. But if you put it right in front, the customer gets it. And they immediately understand what they're getting with your product. And you get the click, hopefully you get the sale.
100%.
One more thing. Sorry, I think
I saw that, Moises.
the title is not only for the people, right? The title is for for the algorithm and for the people. So
there's that's the art.
There should be. I think it happens with time. After people creating a lot of titles, you'll get to know how to kind of structure the title because it's very important.
Yeah, one more on the title, because I know this is a dense topic, and you're like, I thought this was a quick one, right? But it's that important. Like, we could have a total meetup on just titles, but you look at somebody, your competitor, and you're like, that listing is what motivated me to get in because it's selling X amount of thousands of dollars per month. So the tendency is like, let me model that title. But you don't know what you don't know what their title looked like when they launched, and how they approached it, and as they locked in like top of page one positions, they started adding and going after other things. Right. So they started from they pivoted into other things and other keyword phrases from a position of strength. They didn't shotgun approach this thing from the beginning, and that's really important. Like, you don't know, unless you went back in time machine all the way and saw every version of their title and how they got here. Copying them would be what I said in the beginning, taking advice that was great for somebody else and applying it to yourself. It's gonna end in a disaster. Okay.
I got another. Sorry, I'll add one more.
You guys don't want to let title go.
One more with the PPC.
I'm looking to see if we got any glazed eyes out there on titles and like never again.
With regards to PPC, we have it's just an average selling item. And considering the higher costs of ad spend during the holidays, would you consider lowering an ad while you're just to not battle the people, and then after the holidays kick that ad spend back up to generate the standard sales? It's like a run-of-the-mill product. It's not like special.
It's non-replenishable.
It's replenishable. Yeah.
If it's replenishable, I think do you plan on reordering the product?
At this point, probably not, but I wouldn't say no, like, it's just a run-of-the-mill, it's not like a, you know.
The only time I'm a fan of like backing off on PPC is like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But if you're trying to gain market share and you were gonna reorder the product, then I think there's an argument for not doing that on those days. I rarely see a reason to like back off on spend, but you're basically saying you're not gonna reorder, you're prioritizing profitability
Right.
over ranking.
Yeah, yeah.
You're saying it's more expensive to run ads right now during the holidays. Let me just sit this one out or not be so competitive and then rank back up in January?
Yes, right, yeah.
No.
Not a huge fan.
No.
Yeah.
And the reason is simple. If it's a Q4 product, it's a product that sells more during Q4, no. Maybe if it isn't, then maybe, right? Don't spend the money during Q4. But if it's something that is skippable, what you're gonna see is every single keyword is gonna get a bump up in conversions. It's gonna be a lot cheaper to spend more during Q4 because the 7% conversion rate keyword is gonna turn into a 10% or 12% conversion rate keyword. The 15% conversion rate keyword is gonna turn into a 22. So because if people convert faster, they search less, they click less, even if you're paying more, you're paying less.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm following you.
Now, if it's not a Q4 product, then
Yeah.
Summary, not a fan.
So you had another one?
No,
Okay.
summary, not a fan.
Next week we'll talk about titles. 5 I put in here would be your brand registry.
we're at 5?
Yeah.
That was a good one, bro. What are 5?
Well, no, we did 45 minutes on the one I thought we were gonna gloss over. Create listing, copy titles.
That's how much is important, guys.
Brand registry, this one should be pretty quick. Shouldn't be, if you're doing private label, you need brand registry. End of argument.
6.
This one will be quick. What you do want to be concerned of, and this one I've seen recently rear its ugly head with somebody, is if you are using brand registry because you decided you're going to sell, you're going to get your trademark, but you just applied for it, it's not fully registered, right? So you go through the process of like brand accelerator, to where they give you access to brand registry as if your trademark was fully registered. You could access all those cool tools until it is fully registered. One tool you do not get is transparency. Transparency is at the manufacturing level. Say you're gonna make 2,000 units, whatever. You're gonna order a series from Amazon of unique QR codes that are unique at the item level. So it's for that product, but if there's 2,000 units, there's 2,000 codes. And let's say it adds a few cents, 2 to 3 cents to your product. But the reason that's important, in my opinion, is that nobody else, assuming you're not in a bunch of stores and you just lost control of your supply chain, if you keep control of your supply chain, nobody else should be able to sell that product because they can't do knockoff products. They're not gonna be able to do any of that. Now, if you do some fire sale somewhere and one of these gifted arbitrage sellers gets a hold of it, they are allowed to sell it. You could try to block them out. You might be able to sell some units off Amazon that don't have a code on it, so that they can't sell on Amazon, but you're taking some risks there that I don't think you should take. Putting that to the side though, if you do have transparency, you're never gonna have to worry about counterfeiters jumping on your listing. That is worth it. There's one of the worst black hat moves that I've seen, short of complete listing takeover, is somebody starts selling on your listing. Their offer is merchant fulfilled, and it ships from China in 3 weeks. So the problem with this is, if it was an FBA item, you could just order it from the person, do a test buy, and show that it's not the real deal. If it was merchant fulfilled and you get it delivered in 3 days, you can order it and do the same thing. But if you can't put a claim against the product until you've received it. And if the person says they're shipping it from China in 3 weeks, they're gonna take over the buy box on your listing. You're selling it for 20, they're gonna sell it for $8.79, and they're gonna keep the buy box. Selling your product that's not your real product at that cheap price. You're not getting any sales, and your ads aren't even running, because you have to have the buy box to have ads running. So like, you could get torpedoed doing that. These usually happen right before Q4. So to avoid that, if you want to think of it as insurance, do it, but you should have transparency, in my opinion.
On
Yeah.
everything.
I think it should just be part of your brand development, in my opinion. The problem, the reason why I think a lot of people debate it is, if you talk to 10 people, you might have 10 people say, we never had a counterfeit on our product. We don't have any issues with that. So there's like, why pay the extra 3 cents across? But all it takes is once, and it does happen. Yeah.
So in that example that you gave, if that same seller had a brand registry, then they wouldn't have had to go through any of that.
No,
They
if
would
that
just
same seller had transparency,
transparency.
they wouldn't have had that, because the units that they had in Amazon FBA had transparency codes, and anybody else that tries to list against that and say merchant fulfilled or FBA, Amazon's gonna say, whoa, you need to show proof that you have authentic products, authentic codes in the transparency. Like, what are your codes?
GS1 or something like? Is that like a GS1 code or?
No, it's a unique, like if you have 1,000 units,
Yeah.
there's 1,000 QR codes on them, and each one is unique
Got it.
to that product.
It's only for you.
Only you.
Only on your product.
Where it gets manipulative, and I get it, is say you sell in big box retail stores, in eBay and all these other platforms, but you just don't want no one else taking your buy box on Amazon. So you only add the you manufacture 10,000 units, you only put the transparency code on the 2,500 units that you're earmarking for Amazon. But other people are getting hold of authentic units at cheaper prices, so why can't they flip it on Amazon? Like, they should be allowed to flip it. But when they go to sell it, Amazon's like, that's not authentic, you don't have a code. Person's like, yeah, I got a freaking code. Like, yeah, it's an authentic product, I bought it from Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, and that's you can lose your rights to the transparency program. I think it's illegal, flat out illegal, but like, you could lose your rights to the transparency program doing that as a brand, so I wouldn't risk it.
I have friends, he lost many money and lost the listing because he made new listing, but many people asked for him, and if don't have
Transparency.
no, don't have finish. He brands registry, he don't finish, and
Right, he didn't have
he
brand
don't
registry.
close.
Yep.
Because Amazon, the transparency is very good way. I think about this.
Can
For
you
sure.
repeat the question, because we really didn't get it.
I think there's,
My question?
No, it is a question.
No, he was making a statement, not a question.
Oh, okay.
No, I say about
Oh, yes.
that, he lost maybe $35,000 because he closed listing and made new listing because
Yeah, he lost about $35,000 because somebody else got on his listing and he didn't have brand registry, and he had to go create another listing because everybody flooded on that one listing.
so you can get the transparency code once you have the brand like registered and trademark.
Thank you, because I didn't finish the thought. So you can have the trademark pending to get brand registry, but you can't get, and transparency is part of brand registry, but you can't get transparency until the trademark is fully registered. So you can access everything else in brand registry except transparency
and made
while it's in pending status.
and made together in China brand registry because Chinese people this time think if you have it top in Amazon, he made in brand registry in China.
Right, so you
You
make sure that you
can't send
secure
the-
your brand registry everywhere, because otherwise the Chinese will go ahead and secure brand registry from China. Well, he was gonna have that was your question? Yeah. Go ahead, Tim.
You mean the fully registered means you have the certificate from USPTO?
Fully registered USPTO trademark, yeah. Okay. Yeah? All right, A+ content, A+ premium if you have it. So this is gonna help with, this is the graphics or the creative that's on the bottom third of the listing. For those of you keeping score, this is number 6. I recommend you put it, for me in the beginning, what's most important about A+ is less about, it's not a vanity thing so that it looks pretty. It does help with a small amount of the conversions, but it's mostly because of the back-end keywords that you're able to put when you have A+. So when you add A+ modules, you get to put what I call alt image tag keywords on the back end of each one of those modules. Those indexing. In some listings, this is very debatable, but in some listings I see that this 100% indexes on Amazon. In others I see that it doesn't. It always indexes on Google.
They say that they lost it, that is for Google.
Yeah. It indexes on Google. So you want the people who shop on Google, which is the other 50% of the world, to have a chance at seeing your product. That's the best way to go ahead and do it, and it's to put those keywords there that you want to be searched. I also use this spot to put in common misspellings of keywords. So there's some listings that the misspelling of a keyword will be a very good keyword to have, but if you add that misspelling in the title, you just look like somebody who was sloppy with their listing. So I personally like putting them in the back end of the A+ content so no one can see them when they're shopping. FAQs. This is another one that I think is important that's going to help, to your point, that will help a lot, and that is, as of right now, Amazon's rules do not limit, like for example, you could get, technically yourself, to go in there and add, to go in there. Are you guys cold?
I'll tap it. You may tap it to 1 degree.
Raise it. No one told me anything. No one told me anything.
It's slightly cleared up.
You cold? What a great host, right?
You were talking about so much important things, we didn't want to cut you.
Good cleanup. Huh? Yeah.
I feel good, actually.
So, FAQs.
I'm actually still sweating a little.
No, this is number 7.
Getting close.
Getting closer. Number 7 is FAQs. And that is, there's, AI is beginning to take over a big part of this.
I think it's done.
Right? But as of right now, I would still have it in there because it's important. Even if it is done, there's another area on Amazon that you can see these questions on the AI side with Alexa. So you can, I don't know the name, so I hate saying this, but there's another area on Amazon like frequently asked questions that you can add in questions and answers about your product for anybody that does shop using voice so that your product is served up as the answer. So it's similar to FAQs, but for voice.
So I tried it very recently, and what it did is, instead of asking a question on the listing, it sent a communication, a message through seller messaging straight to me, and it didn't post anything anywhere. Maybe he sealed the keywords or not, but it did create an FAQ question.
Yeah, it seems like they're changing how this is going to appear. But it's still appearing, at least on the back end. I would say, if I had to guess, I would say Rufus is you're feeding that to Rufus now instead of this block of text that you can read through, and which could be more important than its previous.
They're building their own LLM.
Yeah.
So what it is.
Yeah, but the question is fitting questions to.
I'm going to say I would say if my guess is right that it's feeding Rufus or their LLM, then I'm going to say it's more important than ever to do it because it's unique to your listing and you're basically telling, I think search is going to change massively. And if it does, and you could have some kind of input into guiding it and teaching it about you, I think you should be doing it.
FAQs or the voice?
Huh? And voice, yes. So with the FAQs, you could go in there yourself or somebody else and ask all the questions you want about your product and then give those answers. And the thing is, those keywords index. It does seem to be taken over a little by Rufus, but either way, I think doing both of them is very important to do on your listing.
How do you do voice? Which one? How do you do that?
It should be, I think it's in the campaign section or within your brand registry. I pull it up here, but I don't have it. Yeah, and it also feeds Alexa. You heard the rumor they're gonna change Rufus's name to Alexa?
Oh.
For help, please visit the help pages on your
Whoa. Okay.
She's not listening.
She's not listening, right?
No.
Well, they know all of our tips now. So you feed the questions and the answers to either help the AI or anybody else that does have the ability to view the FAQs and those keywords index. I think you should flood that before launch. It costs you nothing.
You can use one account to fit with many answers and.
I try to spread it out as much as possible, but you technically can have the same person and ask the question and then go to a different account and go in there and answer the question. Like,
Use Fiverr to get this.
absolutely. The next one I would add is AIP. It's a relatively new one. I think before you launch your product, you should at least get 10 people. Take advantage and use people in the group if you want, if you feel comfortable. If you want to remain somewhat anonymous, come to me and I'll act as a go-between and find some of the influencers in the group and just, Carmen's our main influencer.
Self-proclaimed famous.
But I can, if you want to stay a little bit anonymous, and I guess I'm putting that out there as being willing to do it unless like 100 of you want to do it at the same time, and then I might have to figure something else out. But as of right now, I'll act as a go-between and you just got to give me 10 of your products and then I'll get that to different people and track them down and make sure they give the reviews. But you want it to appear, because I think it was your question earlier. No, it was Candace's actually. And it's when people go to your listing, if they are looking at the videos on your listing, they're deep into your product funnel and something's missing for them to buy, and seeing somebody else using it, wearing it, applying it, whatever, is probably what's gonna tip them over the edge. And that it doesn't look so produced like your brand video is probably gonna help a ton at that spot.
But the product has to be launched for that to work, right? Like for the, because.
Correct, but you gotta, if you wanna have it at the time of your launch.
Oh, so you're saying you've already distributed it and
You
now
wanna
boom, it's
distribute,
live.
yeah, you wanna distribute it to everybody, everyone has that ready.
Yeah.
Especially if you've done it to someone here in the group and you're like, I want an unboxing video that says X or is here.
Yeah.
You can go with all that back and forth with the person that's doing it and get it really good beforehand, so that the day it happens, it's happening that day.
Got it. Yeah, I'm only
You're not waiting to
mentioning it-
buy it and then receive it and then track them down, and so it's done. So you're doing it ahead of time.
Yeah. I'm only mentioning it because I once tried to tag an unavailable product and it's
Right.
doesn't even appear.
Right.
It
But
doesn't
you will
exist.
need to have a product video in your listing to have influence
Right.
videos.
Right, so you wanna have that, which we had a number two was product photography.
Have and without, they're just gonna show at the bottom, not on the side carousel.
Correct.
But as a best practice, you should always have a brand video.
Yeah. So 6 was A+ content, 7 was FAQs, 8 was Amazon influencer product. Number 9, I think at this stage you should consider connecting some kind of, or deciding which like review monitoring software you're wanting to use once you've started, to let you know when you have a negative review come in, so you can do whatever you do as quickly as possible.
What can you do?
What?
I mean, if you
What can you do?
if you have
Negative review.
if you have 2 sales and you know which one it came from, I mean, and in the beginning that really matters. I mean, you could pray. You could be like, start preparing the end of times.
Then I have to reach out to the customer and.
You could reach out. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but generally it's not you have 2 sales, it's like you have 150 and then all of a sudden boom.
yeah, I think there's an advantage in knowing.
I reach out to the customer.
Yeah,
I made the live,
Yeah.
or I give them a refund and they fix the review automatically.
I think a good one to put here, especially if you're gonna have like a content first approach to private label or you're gonna be creating content, is here I put, choose a product review monitor, but I chose that verbiage because it's an Amazon meetup event. In reality, if it was anywhere else, I'd say choose a social listening tool. So here you want to track your reviews here, but you also want to look at any of your mentions on social media.
What's an example?
My favorite is BuzzSumo.
Spell it.
BuzzSumo. It's also one of the pricier ones. Like I think you probably have to be on their $100 a month plan. But if you're doing a content first approach and you're creating a lot of content, not catching some problems that are going on and bad mentions of your brand sooner cost a lot more than $100 a month. Are you guys warmer, by the way?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he better be.
Whose jacket is that?
Can you repeat the number 9, please? Just the title, just to.
Sorry?
Number 9 again?
Product review monitor.
Yeah, product review monitor / social listening tool, depending on what you want to do. There's a lot of social listening tools out there. I got really spoiled with BuzzSumo a long time ago, so I like it. I do think Ahrefs has one now that's built into it, so if you're using anything for like SEO stuff, it's good. SEMrush. Buzzsprout, I think might be a really affordable one that does social listening, but I love Buzz. There's nothing like BuzzSumo. At this stage, you should also decide on some kind of review solicitation software. So this is going to be not just what listens, but what's your plan going to be within terms of service on Amazon to reach out to customers, because you are allowed, and ask for a review. Like whatever your approach is going to be, but you want to set something like that up. Seller Mobile has a really good one. They're a sponsor. Dima has one for Sellerize. I think it's a really good one. There's a lot of them out there. I think tools nowadays come out with them and it's like a free add-on that they also will like reach out. Our sponsor, Ecom Engine, that's coming next week, they're the grandfathers of it. Like they started it first with Feedback 5 from the very, very beginning, Seller Pulse, all of them. They'll be presenting here in 2 weeks. If you had to pick one just blindly, if I had to say just go with one right now, it would be Feedback 5 from Ecom Engine. Yeah, they're fantastic.
Are you able to do promos and include like a QR code in the package, send it out to the customer so they could possibly go to a different listing for a better price or like a free?
So you can use QR codes, but you can't send them to find a better price on your website.
Not a website, just a different listing.
You want to get a QR code and send them back to Amazon?
Right. It'll be a different listing with, let's say, a promo with 2 products, one with the product that they bought, and then a free, like a free other product. So it'll be like a bundle, but it'll be like a different listing.
I don't see anything that's against the rules there. I'm trying to get what the strategy is. So they bought widget A, which was a garlic press.
Right.
And then there's a QR code within the packaging with a call to action to take advantage of our 20% off bundle of
right.
What?
Let's say if it's like maybe essential oil with incense. Instead of just buying the essential oil, you're buying the essential oil and the incense.
But they already bought one of those.
Right, right.
So what would?
So the other listing will have a bundle, so they'll get a free incense with that different purchase from the program.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I guess I'm not getting the strategy, but no, yeah, you can get a QR code that sends them back to Amazon all day.
Well, basically it's just to promote the incense, because now they bought the oil, so I'll send them to a different listing with the oil and the incense.
If the incense was really affordable and can fit in the packaging,
right.
I would recommend maybe sending them one free incense stick with a QR code saying, try this out. If you love it, here's 40% off your first order of on Amazon. I don't know.
Maybe make coupon.
Yeah, you could create a coupon.
Coupon easy peasy. Coupon 20% 1 year, maybe 2 months.
I love it. And he said easy peasy too, which I love. Like, I love it, 100%.
So with those like QR codes, would you be able to put a QR code like in a package where they're just able to scan it and they go straight to a link with like a 10% off? It's like one-time use code.
So you're asking if you can create a QR, I guess, can you create a QR code where?
Like let's say you create a QR code, but it links you back to the same listing.
But where are you showing people this?
It's inside the package.
So somebody bought your product,
Yeah.
inside the packaging, they scanned a QR code, and where does it take them?
It takes them back to that listing with like 10% off, 20% off for the next purchase.
Yeah, I mean, I would just make sure it's a replenishable item you're doing that, because if you just sold them like a knee brace, and then you said, hey, you bought it full price, but the next time you buy a knee brace, here's 20% off, I think you just got a one-way ticket for a negative review. Yeah, like, so I would just make sure, like, yeah, here's a collar, but your next dog, when this one's done, you know what I mean? Like, so I think you got to be strategic in like that. Yeah.
So it's not against the policy of Amazon's policy.
Amazon, I cannot think of a scenario where Amazon would frown on a QR code that directed you back to Amazon. Yeah.
Unless you can scan the QR code and give us a good review. Can't see that.
You can put a QR code that says,
Scam me.
scan me.
Your opinion matters.
All reviews matter? Is it too soon for that?
Opinion matters, something like that.
What you can't do, whoa, this is tricky. So if you have a QR code and it says, please leave us a review for 10% off. Please leave us a review and here's 10% off your next order. And that QR code took them to Amazon for that 10%. You're technically incentivizing a review, but I do not think Amazon's gonna come down on you because you created the code on their platform and you sent them to their platform. I wouldn't do it.
That's too risky.
I think Amazon would bend the rules for you there.
Especially
But-
if you sell an expensive product.
But I bet you would have a very short life if you sent them to your website for that.
This time some people use an NFT. NFT now, put phone and have discount.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe a warranty, maybe 1 year's warranty, 2 years warranty.
Warranty works, 100%.
Carlos, for FBA buyers, what's the best way to find their contact information, like an email, phone number, or even address?
The safest and best way?
Yeah.
Don't. No. I'm not sure if the link is still around, but what's tax jar? Does that tax jar still around? Yeah, there used to be something, if you just connected tax jar, you'd get all that information because that information was needed to kind of do the taxes. There's one called something frog that was managed by Stats, Bully Frog or something, that was managed by Stats, and then Amazon threatened to shut managed by Stats down a long time ago, so they had to separate it, and it still exists somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember you told me about managed by Stats back in like 20.
That was it. That was like, that's how you succeeded at one point. Yeah. How the mighty have fallen. I rarely find especially with like a lot of the changes in meta, I think the juice is not worth the squeeze when it comes to that anymore. Because like lookalike audience was kind of like your main argument on why that might be worth it, and that's not really a thing anymore. And now it's just very easy to grow an email list of people that could be into your product.
So you mean just the Shopify, your
No, I don't know anything better right now than if you go to, they just rebranded their name, but if ConvertKit has something called Creator Network. So if you Google ConvertKit Creator Network, what they have is all of the email newsletters that are in their ecosystem. right? They have these active, highly engaged emails. They don't want to share their contacts with you because that would be a betrayal of trust. But if any of you have been consuming email newsletters lately, you'll notice, like, when you open that email, there'll be a pop-up. There'll be something, if you love this email, we think you'll also like, and it'll have like 3 other suggested emails with the boxes already checked. And what those 3 emails are with the boxes checked are, will say one of them's you. And you're like, well, the people that read this type of newsletter are my type of person. So I'm willing to pay, X amount of cents, whatever the agreed upon price is that it could be $1, I don't know. I'm willing to pay that per contact that sees that box and says, yes, I do like this. Yes, I would also like, do you share what your brand is still? You share yours, yeah?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, he owns a brand called Captain Catnip. So he's just like, he sees, and there's a ton of newsletters on there that have to do with cats. But it might be like healthy cats or how to have an active cat, or, I've seen one on there that was how to make your cat like a YouTube star. Like, I mean, with like 100,000 subscribers. So like, and he's like, I'm not into any of that, but every single one of them that has a cat is my avatar. And I don't want to pay Zuckerberg all this money in lead magnets to try to get someone that gives me a fake email on my newsletter. So he says, I'm willing to pay 20 cents per lead that double opts into my email newsletter. And I want to set a budget of $10 a day. And you just get highly qualified people joining your email newsletter that are the people you want without having to donate a lot of money to Mark Zuckerberg. So I mean, I don't know of a better way than that right now. Cool, all right.
Then creator network, like doing that approach?
ConvertKit Creator Network, it is just so easy. Yeah, you just gotta take a second and know who your customer is. If you have no idea who your customer is, then
What was the name of it again, Carlos?
I think it's called Creator Network.
Yeah, it is.
But if you were to
I looked it
Google,
up for you,
yeah, it's called Creator Network.
By Kit. You
By
said
Kit,
powered by
it used to be
Kit.
called ConvertKit,
This
and
is
they
just Kit
rebranded
now.
into Kit.
Yeah, it's just Kit.
So Kit Creator Network. If you're not doing it, you're missing out on a major opportunity.
KIT.
Yep.
.com.
All right, so that was number 10, decide on a review solicitation software. Had I stayed there, we would have finished on time. But since I tried to overachieve and go to 14, we have 4 more. So let me say this, anybody that was holding off that needs to go and doesn't want to be rude, you're welcome to go. Anybody that wants to stay for a couple more minutes, because none of these are hopefully like the title one. We'll do that in the networking portion of things. I'll rip through these next 4, but if you gotta go, no hard feelings. We won't all stare at you and make you feel bad as you leave because you're not prioritizing, nothing like that. All right, number 11 is add your product to Shopify, eBay, and Walmart. I think this is important at that stage. If you're going to do it, make sure your products are loaded there. It does help. Shockingly, there are people that look at your Shopify, that look at your eBay, look at your Walmart, look at your TikTok shop, and say, that's really cool. I trust buying it on Amazon more. So even if you're not gonna make a heavy push on those platforms, I recommend getting it listed and put on those platforms. Number 12 is gonna be to set up and create a Google ad. I don't know why more people don't do this, but if you set up, even if you don't wanna get into Google ads, there's a massive hack when it comes to Amazon and Google ads, and that is when you first list, the number 1 buyer of Google ads is Amazon, just so you know, okay? And you'll notice sometimes when you search something, there is a Google ad for an Amazon product that's up there. Amazon is running that ad. It's not the buyer, it's not the brand owner, right? They are. And does anybody here not want somebody else to run paid ads for their brand? Right. So the way to trigger that from happening sooner rather than later is to run a Google ad for your product and spend, sometimes it's $20, sometimes it's $200. But what happens is the nice people over at Amazon ads, they say, oh, somebody's running ads for our products. They don't like it. So they start running the ads and they blow you out of the water. And they just never turn them off. So you can trigger Amazon, you can trigger Google you can trigger Amazon into starting to run ads for your product on Google. Are they gonna drive a lot of traffic to your listing? No. I mean, people still need to search on Google for your product for that to like work. But why not turn that on in the very beginning? Like any sale matters in the beginning. At any point, but especially in the beginning.
For those of us that don't know much about Google ad buying, I'm sure there's a Fiverr gig out there that'll help you with this.
There is, or he likes lattes and he's very good at Google. So like we get him a latte, he might just spill the beans and tell us everything we need to know. Like, I'm assuming you like coffee. Maybe it's a beer.
Sounds good.
For a beer and a coffee. Beer, tequila espresso, and he'll spill the beans on how to do that.
Carlos?
Yep.
When would you time it? Like, would you time it right? Like you hit, launch, like you just launched your listing, boom, and like now the traffic starts driving in there. Like as soon as it's live, you're
turning this other stuff on.
Starting a campaign on for Google Ads.
Yeah, but you had all that set up. What you want to avoid is, I turned my Amazon listing on. Busiest day of your life, maybe.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be, to be honest. It should be the day that you're just sitting back, looking at everything to make it say, is anything gonna break? Right, but for most people what it is they turn it on and it's this scramble. Oh my God, where's that tutorial I need to watch on how to send product to FBA I gotta start taking that course on ads. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just insane.
Yeah. Then
But
call Carlos.
Call Carlos. Anything in the video vault. But what it should be here is you don't want to be setting up your Google Analytics and your Google Ads and all this stuff here at that point. That should have been done. And you're just on. Everything's going on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say here. Even if it's working with someone on Fiverr or freelancer, letting them know and like just do it ahead of time. Also, same with the Amazon Influencer Program. It's not now. Yes, it's on. Hey Carlos, I got these 10 products. When can I meet you to like give them to those influencer people you were talking about? I'm gonna be back in Miami in 3 weeks, and and 60 days later your launch is blown and nothing's happened. So that was 11 was add your product to Shopify, eBay, and Walmart. 12 was create a Google ad. 13 is set up a branded storefront. 13 and 14 are going to play pretty close to each other, but I don't think a lot of people get why they're related. So setting up a branded storefront is when you have brand registry, you get to set up a branded storefront. You really should do that. There's a lot of cool ad types that you can run that work better when you can send people to your Amazon branded store. And if you don't have one, you're missing out on that. Amazon's trying to get into when did you get here? I didn't even see you here, bro. How long, you been here the whole time? Oh, you've been hiding like right behind, like diagonally, I can't see you. She's got her hair thing going on right there and you were blocked out.
Yeah. Can you do that as well when you're partnering up with a brand? Like it's not your
Wholesale?
own, but you're partnering up with a brand to put their products on Amazon. Should you create your own storefront for that brand?
No. So remember, as sellers, we all have seller storefronts. As a brand, there's only one branded storefront. And if you're going to be representing that brand on Amazon, then you would be setting up their branded storefront through their brand registry. You just have permissions to do that through their brand registry. Am I saying this right? Yes. Yeah, that's what you're going to do. And then, yes, that's right. That's what you would do. But you're not independently creating a separate brand registry, anything. Like you need them and their brand and their trademark to be able to set that up correctly.
How about the transparency code?
Same thing. If they have brand registry and they have a fully registered trademark, what that's going to look like, because really what you're operating in on that agreement is almost like a service provider in a sense, and you're providing the service of reselling their products and representing them on Amazon, and you're adding more value than say the average run-of-the-mill wholesaler. That's just kind of almost like leeching off of them and not adding value. So one of the value adds you'd be adding there with them is, hey, this is you got to sell. You're going to have to sell them on it because it's going to be a few cents per unit that they're going to need to agree to. Rarely does anyone want to agree to that. So you got to sell them on why it's important. Sell them on what this costs if we don't have this in place, and then agree who's going to who's going to bear those costs. And once you've agreed on that, then again, you're part of their brand registry, your email's authorized to communicate with, you know, whoever the provider you're gonna use to get your transparency codes, and then you're good. But it's all through their brand registry.
If that's the case, will the brand need to send you transparency codes, or will you be able to?
Depends on the relationship you have with them, so if your name's in their system, you could have them sent directly. Remember, they're not really supposed to go to you, they're supposed to go to the factory, the manufacturer. So it's rare that you would need them.
Yeah.
If they're sending them to you, but their products are manufactured somewhere else, and they're carried in a whole bunch of different stores, then you're threading the needle there.
Depends on the business model, because
Yeah.
if you're a private label, you're gonna get that from the factory. But if you are a wholesaler, probably you're gonna get from the brand or from the distributor.
Yeah.
Hey, who do you know runs ads to their brand page, and what's the purpose? Successfully done this, like, I don't see.
To their branded storefront page?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the next one.
Okay.
That's amazing right now, especially during launch. But that's, when you set up your branded storefront, you can't do number 14 without having a branded storefront, and that is, you're creating landing pages on your branded storefront. So when you go to a branded storefront on Amazon right now, you kind of see like whatever order or hodgepodge of products that are there currently that were probably set up when they first created it and they've never altered it again. Or it might show newest release and then some other products and some categories. But you're gonna create maybe some hidden landing pages, or landing pages to where there is a link to a branded storefront page of yours that when someone goes to it, they're only seeing one product. And that page is set up to complement that one product. And the reason for that is if you're running ads to a landing page or to a product, you don't want someone distracted with like, oh, wow, oh, there's an option for this. And you want them to buy the thing you sent them to, so you get a better conversion on the ad. If you try to run external traffic ads, or somebody tries to have you run external traffic ads to your Amazon branded storefront, and you don't first set that up, I mean, the chances of success are slim and none. Also, running external ads to Amazon, you rarely will see something that's just gonna like convert at a really nice, profitable, like I love that profitability level, you know what I mean? It's just ads are more expensive than other places. But you will find some that you're not losing on, and because of the conversion, you're now ranking better for other keywords, and that's gonna bring in more sales. But we start getting into like,
Back that up, slow that down.
well, back that up, it's not the medium.
So you're basically saying, create a landing page within your
Branded storefront.
Branded storefront. Drag up Amazon traffic to that branded storefront page, so you can get the conversion from that page. But that doesn't really give you any ranking juice on any keyword.
Yes, it does, on your canonical URL keywords.
Canonical, got it.
Right. Well, you rank on your canonical, and here we're gonna get debatable, and I'd be hard pressed to show proof for this. Well, when you rank for something, you do benefit across a family of relevant keywords,
Right.
not just that keyword. So,
Yeah, but just like video ads, you don't get any juice out of a video ad.
yes, you do. You get juice off of your canonical URL keywords. You heavily, no different than an ad, no different than a sponsored product ad or a click. You do rank off your canonical URL keywords, and you rank off the relevant keywords to that canonical one, just not as much. Yeah.
Question.
We are, me and Carlos, me and Jim, we're waiting for you to show us the whole data if you want. I'm with you on it. I'm not
Yes.
disagreeing.
Yeah. What I'm going to be unable to prove with like everything else up until this point, I will be unable to prove this one point because it's just you don't get the data. Even your attribution is going to break down here, but is the relevance family of relevant keywords. But the canonical, yes. Like you could have a product that, and I think you're going to see this more with TikTok or Lemon 8 or whatever, and that is you create a branded storefront or Google Ads. You can see this right now with Google Ads. So if you ran Google Ads to Amazon to a branded storefront page for one product, and you ran no other ads on Amazon, you would rank pretty amazing off of those Google Ads that go to the platform, because the quality of the traffic that came was an external traffic from Google, you would rank amazingly for the canonical URL keywords, but you would rank for non-canonical URL keywords that would be relevant to your listing. So I'm basing it off of that. Am I missing something? Like, is there some other? I don't believe I am, but you would 100% rank. How did I lose a button? Yeah, but you would 100% rank off those other keywords.
You said rank amazingly, but on Amazon? Is that
Yes.
what you mean? Okay.
Yes.
So the outside traffic.
Amazon loves outside traffic.
Got it. And it's going through the branded storefront to one product.
You're sending it through the branded storefront
Yeah.
landing page of that product, because if you don't, where would you send it?
Yeah.
To your listing with a whole bunch of other ads targeted and distractions and
completely destroy your conversion rate.
and completely destroy your conversion, then you'd be like, Google ads don't work. Whoever was running the Google ads, they suck. Right.
So this goes through the branded storefront for.
You need to
one of the
create
products.
that landing page on your branded storefront that only has your product. No distraction. And content that is complementary to the conversion of that product.
How many storefront landing pages can you have? Yeah, you just have
I don't know. I don't know that there's a limit. I mean, I guess when AWS runs out of space.
Create one for unique selling proposition.
Yeah, for every single selling I use an infinite number, and they're going to be so identical to each other that you should be able to bang them out in scale.
And they just give you a link and you just use that link.
And then you use the Amazon attribution fields to track as much as you can, and it's very easy.
You get Amazon attribution in the branded store?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you can create an Amazon attribution link to that branded storefront.
Okay. I thought you can only create attribution link to this.
No, you can get you can do it to the branded storefront.
That's interesting.
To the branded storefront landing pages.
Right. That makes, that's very.
And then get the same landing page and create 5 different ones depending on TikTok, Pinterest.
Yeah.
But yes, so number 13 is set up an Amazon branded storefront. And number 14 is to set up dedicated Amazon storefront landing pages for the products that you're ranking.
So any of your external ads should be like.
Any
Google
external
should be
ads that
going
you,
to-
I mean,
Google, like if the Google ad should be going to.
I don't know a good argument to send external traffic to a page that has 3 different products, but I guess if you had a family of blenders and you're sending the traffic and you're not sure if the traffic you're sending is more towards the $500 blender or the $100 blender, and you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they're all identical except for a very clear like watt. I don't know. There might be a case there. Yeah, but even then, more than likely they would have converted on the $200 one, and showing them a 100. Did you just hurt yourself? Would it be better to just split the traffic into all 5, see which one converts better, and then send everything to probably the higher priced one? So yeah, I would send it all there. What you never do is just send it to your Amazon storefront or to your Amazon listing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
You can put a video. You can put.
Probably the same example that you have 3 blenders, and you put in that landing page 3 blenders.
You could. Yeah, you could. You have all the flexibility of anything you want to do in an Amazon branded storefront, which is a lot now. But you can do all the modules and everything. What I find that works better is very, very simple. Just the product. That's it. You go. That's why you clicked on the ad. Like just the product.
Carlos, do you have a good sample brand for the 13 to 14? I'm really confused for the storefront, and the landing page only has 1 page.
So
I know you.
there are some people in the group who have set this up for.
Yeah.
I would need to ask them for permission to do it, and the reason I can't send you to a storefront is, remember, it's a hidden page.
It's different page.
It's a hidden page.
It's a hidden page.
It's hidden from search, so you're only going to come up when somebody clicks from an ad. So even if I said go to X brand, but there's people in the group who have set this up for that. Like for example, I don't feel like I should be able to show you this here if Tom's not here, but if Tom's open about what he does, the next time Tom's here, if he comes through, I'll ask him to show you. I'm sure he will.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I also create landing pages from posts, right? What I do is I create a post, I see that it has high engagement and it's really working, I boost it. Because right, you have to boost,
Yep.
I boost it, and then I add the products there because it's
Yep.
already showed that.
Yep, absolutely. All right, you guys survived all 14, right? We're gonna hang out and network a little bit now that it's so much warmer.
Let's take a picture.
I really mean it. I'd like to do everything in my power to try to help everybody kill it in 2025. I think 2024 was rough, especially on the logistics side. I think logistics is going to be a lot better in 2025, thank goodness. A lot of cool stuff we're going to do. Reach out to me about the accountability thing that I mentioned. I could probably point you to someone to be a better accountability partner than me spinning all these plates, but it would, even that would help. Like, you're going to show up on a Saturday, you'll start grinding Thursday, Friday. You're like, I don't want to show up and see Carlos and not have done X. So like, don't hesitate to reach out. And super excited that we're back. Our schedule's going to be the same moving forward every Saturday. I've been working with Moises and Raul and a lot of other cool people in the group to like have some cool stuff that we're going to start doing new in the group that I think is going to be able to help everybody even more. And yeah, I look forward to talking with you guys. Happy New Year, and thanks for coming out.
Let's take a group picture. From the beginning of the year.
Carlos, what was
Number 10?
The title.
Number 1 is TTH method. Number 2 is product photography, videography. Number 3 is create the listing. 4 is set future sale date. 5, brand registry. 6, A+ content. 7, FAQs. 8, influencer program. 9, connect, choose a product review or a social listening tool. 10 is decide on a review solicitation software. I recommend Ecom Engine. 11 is add your product to Shopify, eBay, Walmart. 12, create a Google ad. 13, set up a branded storefront. 14, set up dedicated landing pages on Storefront for external ads to Amazon. In the group, I guess I could do that. It's a Google Doc link. Really cool. I'm sorry, Carmen. I'm sorry. So that's an excuse. Because you didn't give me that excuse when I outdrank you in China because I had it. I've only gotten stronger since. See, but he ate my food in China and left me. No? Fernando was checking. I hope no questions came in. Are there any? Oh, there was. Let me check this feed real quick. Sorry. I hope it wasn't like frozen on Fernando's side.